What's good, everybody? What's good? Let me get things going here. I think I sent everyone the wrong link uh, to get onto the um, to get on here to the panel. Let me send that out. Okay, I just sent it. My bad, everyone, about that. Apologize for sending out that wrong link like that. Didn't realize I did. But please don't forget to hit that like button when you come in. Um, but I'm glad to have everyone out here today on the Sabbath, on the actual Sabbath day, to have this discussion and have this barbershop talk today. Being I do have to work tomorrow, but yeah, the weather kind of impacted things here. But I think this is a good topic. The foundation is very important. Having a strong, solid foundation. Uh, for your goals, for your life, and how you operate. It's very important. We see all too much how having an unstable foundation, how it causes instability in our lives and our choices and everything we do. Um, so having that foundation is key. That stable, solid, that rock foundation is key. That way as the parable says, that way you don't fall like the house built on sand did. Welcome, Lawrence. Welcome. Sorry about that.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, my bad about that. I sent the wrong link. Apparently to the last video instead of this one.
Well, that's why I said it ended 6.5 minutes ago. So yeah, okay.
Got you.
It happens. Technical difficulties are allowed.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fairly well. You?
Not bad, not bad. A quick
Yeah.
shalom to everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Glad to see you guys here. So I'm sorry. I was trying to get everything set up, so I missed what you were saying initially.
All I was initially just saying was that how it's very important, our foundation, what we structure our lives and our code and how we go through life, how important it is to have that solid foundation. That way it doesn't, everything that we do, it doesn't crumble like the house built on sand did.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I guess it would come down to figuring out what your foundation would or should be for you as an individual.
Right.
Because I mean, there's different foundations. I mean, there's a foundation you use for yourself as an individual, a foundation that you use for yourself for raising your children. There's a foundation you use for how you work in your community, society. I mean, there'll be overlaps, of course.
Okay.
But I would assume there's slight change, because what you would do as a man who's moving through life on your own, your foundation changes when you become a father. You see what I'm saying?
I got a question. I guess how would it change? Because to me, if it's in logic, it really, if it's illogical, it shouldn't really just change that much.
Well, in all fairness, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. I don't think the foundation itself would change. Maybe the execution of it, I think, is what I'm getting to. Because how you move as a single person is not how you move as a father. Because when you have kids, you take less risk, because you realize there's more people relying on you than just yourself. That kind of thing. But the foundational principles should still be the same. That is correct. So I was saying it wrong, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, because whatever foundation you have as a man will be taught to your children. So it doesn't change, just the execution of it. Because, like, like I said, as a single person, if like the two of us, right, we're prime examples.
Okay.
As a man with no children, you can get up, and if you suddenly decide you want, excuse me, if you suddenly decide you want to go to Alaska, you out the door.
Got you. Got you.
Me, my foundation is solid, how I rule myself, but I can't just up and leave like that because I have two children or four children or whatever it is So that's why I was saying it wasn't you, it was me. I said it wrong. The foundation is solid. The execution of it changes.
Okay. Okay.
But again, it's a question of where you build that foundation from and on. For some people it's their faith. They build their foundation on that. Some people, they build it off their intellect. And the list goes on and on depending on the individual.
I got you.
So, I mean, that's real. I really don't know how else to say it, to be honest with you. But I guess I don't know. Would you think? Well, I would assume foundation has a lot to do with purpose. Because
yes,
once you choose your purpose, you start building the foundation you need to pursue it.
Well, I guess you start building a house, but yes, that
right.
Your purpose goes hand in hand with that foundation. It should, anyways. But I mean, you can still have a purpose, but then have poor foundation.
True. This is true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Golly, that's why I said, your foundation really shouldn't change. It should be rooted. Your foundation should be based on logic, because like like the passage says, so everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man, farsighted, practical, and sensible, who built his house on the rock. That way, when the storm comes, the foundation doesn't change. The house that's rooted and sealed and worked into that foundation, because the foundation isn't going to move. It's not going to falter. The house itself isn't. But whenever you put it on the sand, because the sand, it has no actual, it's not solid.
Yes, it's always shifting. It's always shifting.
It shifts exactly.
Which shows the mentality of what we talk about when we talk about men and in this space. It's the personality. There's no foundation. Everybody's shifting to whatever is the hot topic at the moment, whatever's going to get those super chats. So it's really similar to that. So I guess my question would be how would we go about building that foundation?
In what sense? Be more specific.
I'm not sure if I can. I guess I'm speaking in general terms, because I know I can't be specific because everybody has a different definition of what a foundation is and what's important to them. So I guess I'm just talking in general.
Okay. Well, to me, then, I mean, it starts like it always should. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, that's the first step for sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to show what your foundation really is and what it's on, what it's based around. If you have a bunch of people who aren't logical, they're emotional, then really around you, then that means that your foundation is pretty much really going to be like sand.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's a real good place to start. Look at your associations. Whoever your associations are is who you made your bedrock.
Right. Exactly.
Because then
they're
you
a part of that.
Yeah, you start building from there. So like you said, birds of a feather flock together, no doubt.
Exactly.
No doubt whatsoever. That's yeah, I like that. I'm sorry. I'm letting it soak into my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's where it starts. Like I said, I'm not a thief, so I'm not going to hang around a liar or a thief. I don't care about stealing, and thieves lie. That way they can get away with stealing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And not only that, but how could you trust them? They'd eventually steal from you. So,
That's why they only hang with each other.
yeah, yeah,
Because I mean, they're of like mind
yeah,
and like habits.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, so first step is observation.
Right.
Pay attention to who you're around, who you associate with, and the dynamic of the environment you're part of.
Right.
Okay, so then, so let's say that's the first step. Then the second step would be what?
That would be
I mean,
then.
obviously, it's to self correct, of course.
Right. And then that's when I think that's whenever your goal or your purpose can kind of come to fruition, not just for I mean because it's very seldom that an individual figures out their purpose before that.
It is. It is.
So then that's whenever as an individual that they can figure out their purpose, and then as a unit, they can figure it out and then work towards that to where everyone benefits from the purpose, from the goal.
Right.
Some may benefit more so than others, but it's everyone's still benefiting.
Well, that's always going to be the case. Again,
Yeah.
we've talked about that before. There's no such thing as equality. Some people are always
Right.
going to get more or less. I mean, and that's not a personal thing. That's just life.
Right. But I mean, it's something you got to bring up because these motherfuckers don't understand that.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. This is
People
true.
don't understand that because
they want equality of outcomes.
Well,
and there's no such thing.
I don't even think equality of outcomes. The thing is that people don't understand that this world was never based in false in what's false and what's true, but it's based on hard facts. And they only think that the facts that favor them, they mistakenly believe that those are truths. But there's a countless majority where the only facts that they know are the ones that don't favor them.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, that's very true.
It's true. So
Very true.
what ends up happening is both types of individuals get into this emotional fact-based theology where they think where they either identify with the victimhood or they think that only the facts that only favor them are facts. So they'll do whatever to do the things that favor them. But as Zero has pointed out before so many times, you can tell whether something is pretty much logically right or logically wrong is if somebody done it to you, would you like this shit?
Yeah. You know what? Hulk used to say that a lot too. He always
Right.
used to give that example. He always used to give examples on that as well. He
Right.
sure did. Because it's one thing when you want to talk about moral fiber, and you're able to go do what you want, and then when somebody turns around and slaps you back, then all of a sudden it's not right.
It's wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. He used to use that example a lot too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But but doing okay. So what we're really, well, not really, but part of what we're talking about is, and this has always been something that should be important to men regardless of their age, how to be introspective, because the only way you can get to what you're talking about is you have to stop long enough to take a step back to really look deep inside yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look so deep that you look, don't, you look so deep, and even when you come across something you don't like, don't run from it.
Mm-hmm.
Either accept it or correct it, but don't run from it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And a lot of a lot of people don't do that anymore.
No.
Like, well, men especially, because that was something that was just required of men. I mean, you just had to do it because it was the only way you could do self assessment to figure out what your next step is in your purpose or whatever plan it is you have for life. Um, so yeah, so part of that, part of it, no, excuse me, part of building that foundation First step
Hmm.
is to definitely be introspective and look deep inside.
Right, right.
You know, and I wouldn't just put that on men either. I think women should do it as well. But you know, I'm just specifically talking about men right now. But in general, everybody should do it.
Yeah, I think the thing is though, with women, it's less likely.
Right. It's very
So
rare.
yeah, exactly.
And
It's
I'll tell you something else. Generally, with the way I talk about women and all that good stuff, I can honestly sit here that in my lifetime I have honestly met let me see, two two women who actually do that at all
mm,
times, which is very impressive to me. Is very impressive to me.
mm,
And that's been consistent. I'm talking about knowing them since I was 7 years old.
gotcha.
And you know we're all in our 50s now and they are still that type of person. I mean they just do it. So to see that from women is very impressive indeed. Because like you said, it's a rare thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's a rare
It's an
thing.
anomaly.
Yeah,
Damn
that would be
rare. It's an
fair. Yeah,
anomaly.
that would be fair.
Yeah.
That would be fair. An anomaly is a good word. Yeah, that would be fair. but but knowing them for pretty much my entire lifetime,
Hmm.
as impressive as it is, it's a little disheartening too, because one, it shows me it can be done from women, and two, it's disappointing to see two women do it and so many men fail at it. So it's
You know what? I get the latter. The
yeah.
first one, um, here's my thing. I mean, even when you go to the Bible, it shows that that's just not them. And usually, if it whenever it does show, uh, it's um it's so they can it's so they can manipulate to get what they want, which is just a part of their nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not so much as a standard or a foundation for them to live their lives by. Unless only time you usually see it is whenever you've actually seen them actually submit to the foundation that a man in their life has established. And
Well,
that's
and
why I said it's an anomaly. Because I mean, even when you look at the Bible, it's still an anomaly there.
right, right, yeah, that's true. Because with the two of them, one is married, one is not.
Or
So, but
or
it's.
one, the father figure.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. But yeah, but like I said, it's nice. It's nice to see. I mean, I don't believe in unicorns, you know that. but
I do. It's just that I've only seen them on cartoons.
yeah. I'm sorry, I don't believe in real life unicorns. How about that? But like I said, you know, does it change my thought process on dealing with them? No, absolutely not. But
Gotcha.
it is still a nice thing to see,
Gotcha.
to know that it's possible, I guess is the
Yeah.
phrase I'm looking
I
for.
got you. I got you.
Now going back to the second part, to see that, like you said, that you know, seeing two grown women in their 50s able to do that, and like I said, I've watched them do that my entire life,
Gotcha.
and to see men not being capable of doing it just for one day is mind boggling.
I
So
guess, and I guess the other reason why that's not so mind boggling to me is whenever you look at, I think I pointed out before, but I'll do it. Um, when you look at how you have advanced societies, um, it's usually tends to what happens because now males have to put their focus in another way. Whenever you have advanced societies, you know, it's not about, you know, you being out in the wild and surviving anymore. So for the majority, it's gonna nerf that aggression that they have.
mm,
It's gonna nerf as well not only the aggression but the logic, and it's gonna um, nerf that logic towards women too.
okay, I can see that. I can see that. Thank you for that. That's an interesting
Yeah.
interpretation.
Um, because I mean, take feminism for instance. Whenever women got to vote, men instinctively know that we have to check each other.
True.
On our power.
Right. Absolutely.
But the problem is that, like Zero points out, beta males are what create societies. The problem is that they won't instinctively check women on power.
Right.
So they give them unchecked power, and that's why you end up having what you have today.
That's true. Until it gets so bad that
it's too late. The society has to crumble. That's the only option.
But that's what I was about to say.
The women aren't going to give up that power. I mean,
but that's what I was about to say. Yeah, you beat me to it, but that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. And like we said, we don't need to sit here and debate about it, man. There's enough history. Well, I mean, not you and I mean, just in general.
In general, I got you.
Because there's enough history lessons to open a book and you can see it.
Right. But I do think it's important to point it out. That way you can kind of see what led to it.
Yeah.
And the problem, as far as with the men, and then them, basically conditioning their sons or other males in the environment to not also check that power of women. I mean, you have to. I mean, they got the right. I mean, before that, a man had to have property, as well as be registered in the military to even vote.
Yes, that's correct. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, but whenever they gave it to women, they just gave it to them for just being.
Yeah, and matter of fact, even now for men, it still stands because as soon as you turn 18, you have to sign up for selective service.
Yeah. The only thing that changed was the property aspect.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but even with that, to some degree, we're still dealing with property because selective service is giving ourselves as property over to the government.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah. So I'm just throwing that out there. It's not anything of major consequence.
I guess I was talking about the standpoint of
real estate
owning
land.
property. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you're right. That's exactly how it originally was.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's that, or like you said, the military, and the military aspect still stands. That's why we have selective service.
Exactly.
And at any given time, the draft can be initiated. Period.
And still, too, even still, the laws themselves are still worded in a way to still check the power of men.
Yes. It is.
But they never ever thought about this for women. It never came to their mind.
Yeah, it still doesn't. It still does.
Well, it's too late now anyways.
Well, it was interesting because about 5 years ago, there was a general, a male, who had challenged, no, it was a female, I think it was, had challenged the fact that women should sign up for selective service too. Which I'm not gonna argue with. You want the benefits, you gotta put up to work, And every feminist organization attacked her, man, and tore it down.
Oh yeah,
tore it down. I did too, because I know a couple of people that had asked me my thoughts on it. And I was like, well, it's not gonna happen. Well, don't you think it should? Doesn't matter what I think. I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen. There's no way you're dealing with a group of people who already have been trained to get everything for free with no work, and now you're asking them to work. That's not going to happen. I mean, you built the monster. It's not going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's not. It's not going to happen. And then, like Zero brings up too. I mean, you're going to have the men that fight it as well.
Exactly.
They're going to fight shaking that power with women.
Exactly. And it's interesting because, like with the selective service thing, if men don't sign up, it's not just about the vote; it's everything. Right. If you don't, I mean, just like Wagner himself had put in the chat about getting financial aid, it's financial aid, it's housing, you name it. If you're not signed up for the selective service, you're persona non grata as far as this country is concerned.
Right.
You can't get access to anything, but women don't have that problem. They turn
Right.
18, don't have to sign up for anything and get all of it. So yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this a
No,
male
you're good.
female
No,
thing.
you're good. You're good. No.
But it's the point. Going back to the topic, building that foundation. That foundation, man. Like I said, you have to be introspective, and then after being introspective, you have to make whatever concepts you're working with. You have to
Mm-hmm.
build. You have to build a list of what you will and will not stand for. You know what I mean? And then start building from there, because nothing any of us, regardless of age, color, creed, race, geographical location, none of us can build anything unless we have a set of procedures and policies and concepts that we follow, which I think is also part of building that foundation. um you know what I mean? Because I mean,
Uh-huh.
even a house built on rock, as solid as the ground may be, you still have to learn. You still have to lay the foundation properly on that rock.
Right. Right.
So you gotta have something. You can't just go through life without any. Oh, geez, MOT could explain this a lot better than I could for sure. No, he really could, because
Yeah,
he's done
I
it.
know.
He's done it a couple of times, and I I don't know what's been going on with me lately. The ideas are in my head, but finding the words have just been so
To
difficult for
express
me.
it.
Yeah, it's just been so difficult for me lately.
Well, you
That's
got a
that.
lot on
That's
your plate.
well, that's why you MOT, Hulk, zero, yada yada yada. Yeah, that's why most of the time I just shut up. Hey, look, man, if you do it better, you do it better. I can't get mad at it as long as
Yeah.
the message gets out there. That's all that matters to me.
Right.
I
I
don't give a
agree.
damn who it comes from.
I agree.
But like I was saying, MOT could explain it a lot, because he and I have talked about it many a times, and he's talked about it on multiple panels. But you got to have policies and procedures in place. You got to have a set of rules so you can understand the dichotomy of what you're trying to build versus
Mm-hmm.
what you're trying not to build. You can't understand good unless you understand evil. You can't, you know what I mean? It's
Well, you don't. You don't have evil without good.
exactly,
Can't.
exactly. Mm.
It's like shadows. Light creates shadows. So
Yeah, but like I said, that first step's got to be introspection, because if you don't, how do you question anything?
true.
I mean,
True.
seriously, if you don't stop long enough to think about it and then look at yourself, how do you even
Well,
develop the questions you need to figure
you know
out what
what?
foundation?
I think
Yeah.
you said his name 5 times. So here we go. What's up,
Oh,
Manager
Jay,
Marl?
MOT, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's
Once
up?
again, I appreciate you coming in to save me. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I'm off kilter today. Normally I do these on Sunday, but I got to work tomorrow. The weather kind of changed things around, so it's had me off. But so I just said I would do it today around this time, and we'll have it.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
man.
how's it going, MOT? I know you're on the move, loading up.
Always.
So if you wouldn't mind, would you please do what you do so well for me and break down what I was trying to say?
All right. All right. So, what was the topic? Because I missed
I
the
was
previous
making
part.
well, I was making the point of the importance of how to build policies and procedures so you can start creating your foundation from what you're moving towards on your purpose.
Yeah, because you have to understand that the foundation is everything.
Yes.
Mm.
It's everything. And what people don't understand is you're choosing to let all this stuff happen to you, and then you're trying to make it look like it's not a choice when it does happen.
Right.
So, just like Zero said, the actual correct application only needs to be applied one
Once.
time. And a lot of people think that because it's easy to go far within black culture, all you gotta do is act like a bitch. You know,
Yes.
yeah, because bitches have no constraint within society, and men act like bitches because they think they can't get their ass whooped until they actually do. But you have to realize that your life is going to be great on the stuff that you don't get yourself into because you've already solved problems. Because men solve problems. Women talk about problems that don't solve them. Just like I tell my girl, listen, don't bring shit up to me that you don't want fixed, because I'm fixing this shit forever, and I don't want to hear from you again in any shape, form, or fashion. Say it inside your head, because if it comes outside your mouth, that means I have to fix it. And most men want to stay in that kind of purgatory of things not being fixed, because nothing's at stake. And that's what you get at when you don't have a foundation or a point, because plans also has an end date. It also has an end point. It also has checks and balances. It also has way stations for you to actually check what's going on. And a lot of people don't want to have the point to where they self-assess, because self-assessment means YOLO goes out the window. But see, most people live their life through YOLO, and YOLO doesn't really fit in where men at.
Gotcha.
So, I'm sorry, Eisen.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to ask MOT a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So MOT. So I guess everything you said is on point. What I was trying to get to was how do you build that foundation, and what would be your suggestions? I mean, I pretty much know what it is, but just for the general people listening.
No, I mean, you have to start with what's working for people right now. And I'm talking about where you want to be in the future. Because if you don't have a plan, you don't have an endpoint. You're just out there floundering until things, quote unquote, work out, which they never do. So what you got to, correct. So it's like, what you have to do is you have to look at the things that are working. Me, I was in IT. What is the top point of this? Being a project manager. Now, I did it the wrong way, but by doing it the wrong way, I actually learned all the right things.
Right.
Because I went from a tester all the way to a project manager. Software and hardware. So that way I knew how not to be BS by the people who I was hiring, because I knew how all the things work inside and out. As a man, you're supposed to pick one road, be confident at that road, and plan things from beginning to end, so that way it'll work for you. Now, once you bring this bitch into your life, I'm talking about, the way that you act, you don't have an endpoint, and you have to close on every opportunity around you. And that's not how that works. I mean, because if you make the plan properly, you would just be able to just look at the plan like, am I on target or am I not on target? But if your personal plan is to act like a bitch, then everything is going to take you off of being concentrated on one particular point. Right. So a lot of people have to understand, man, it's just taking yourself off the market, taking yourself off the field, and not actually giving up your core values just so that way you can keep these friendships around. This is another way that you teach people how to teach you, how to treat you based on the company that you keep and that's the people that you don't have around. Because there's a difference between, like I said yesterday when I was talking about the community shit. Right. There's a difference between awareness and exposure.
Yes. Very big difference. Very big difference. Very big.
So what they don't get is that I have all the same quote unquote game that they do. I just decide not to play it, but I'm aware of how all this stuff works. And I just go to another place where it's figured out. Because me, I want to deal with people who understand consequences for actions. And that's really not that hard. You're just going to have to travel a hell of a lot further to get out there. But most people let their inner bitch talk them out of concrete solutions.
Yeah. You're right.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. They absolutely do. And I have seen that. I have literally seen that in real time in action. I'm pretty sure we all have to some degree.
Oh yeah.
But it's I don't even know how to follow up on that. That's just, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. And there's no denying it. And if anybody has any concept of challenging it, just tell them to walk through a Black community. I mean, you can see it every day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
The thing is, we got outcomes to look at now. Everybody can point to the black community. This is what happens when you don't have a plan.
Yep.
It's what
That's what I'm
happens.
gonna go over tomorrow night about how black progress actually looks. So that way you won't be fooled about what is and what isn't black progress.
Right. Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. When you yeah when you look at I ain't gonna use the word community, but yeah, when you look at the black conglomerate, it's the perfect example of a house built on sand.
Oh, it absolutely is. Absolutely. Oh, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. You know
what it is, it's an old school patchwork quilt of fuckery. That's what it is.
It is. Yes. That is correct. That is correct. That is correct.
MOT, pretty much the topic, was what's your foundation? And I went to Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 29, where Jesus' parable on the two foundations about, the man who built his house on rock versus the one who built their house on sand. And Lawrence had asked earlier, about, that foundation, what would it be built on? I said, well, the thing is, I guess you'd first have to start with, birds of a feather flock together. I mean, the people that you have around you is going to show what your foundation truly is.
And what people don't understand is they're surrounded by the houses that are built on sand.
Yes.
They're surrounded by that.
Yes. Yeah, most people are. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And and after Eisen had said that, I had followed up with the aspect of the importance of a man being introspective enough to question himself and that surrounding to know what he should and should not be part of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you start with the question, have you ever thought for a single moment that maybe you were wrong?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
Because every young person I come across, if I can't teach them anything, I teach them one thing. Always ask the most important question: why?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, if you just ask that one question, it'll take you everywhere else you have to go.
Yeah, I agree. It will take you.
I mean, the who, because at the end of the day, the who really doesn't matter. The what doesn't really matter, but the why is always key. Always. Why did you make that choice? Why do you associate with these people? Why do you buy into this particular mindset? Why do you want to be something different? You got to ask the why. The why is the most important question of all of them that you could ask.
It is. You're starting to sound like the Merovingian from the second Matrix. Why is important.
Who?
It is.
Who? Oh, me? I forgot all about him. I forgot all about him.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I mean, we get all this thing: who, what, when, where, why, how, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But why is always the most important out of all of them.
Yes,
all of them.
Is.
And why has a tendency to lead you to all the other ones anyway.
Yes. So, you get the answer from why.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
So yeah, most definitely, and that's part of the introspective aspect that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. You have to, if you can't do anything else, you have to question yourself.
Yes,
I mean, some it's kind of like me growing up. I'm a smart kid. I keep myself clean. I don't hang out with crazy fools in the whole 9 yards. And I started to ask myself, why? Why am I different than everybody else that I grew up around? Why? What makes me different? You see what I'm saying? And then it started bleeding into other questions from there. And that's the thing about being introspective. When you start asking yourself why of yourself, you start to really hardcore start reevaluating everything. And the more you do it, the more everything becomes a why. Why my mother? Why my sister? Why my friends? Why is this one doing this? Why am I not doing it? Why? Look, man, there's no other three-letter question that's more important than that one right there.
Yeah.
And like I said, once you do that, it puts you in a position to challenge, which is also one of the natures of us as men. We challenge concepts. We challenge thought processes. This is how we got philosophy. This is how we figured out technology. This is how we mastered the earth. That's, it's an important thing to do, and it has to start with yourself. It has to, because there's no other way to get there. It just isn't. Because I'm not gonna figure out who I want to be by asking why you're who you are. I mean, that's not gonna solve anything. I have to ask myself that question about myself. You know?
This is why men are supposed to have definition.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why they're supposed to have definition and the things figured out. I mean, how it started for me is, like I said yesterday, well, I'm going to do a live stream on it, win versus one. I wanted to build a world without niggas. I did not want to be accepted in a world with inclusion of niggas. I did not want to play by nigga rules. I didn't want nigga prizes. I did not want nigga women. I did not want nigga outcomes. And I spent my whole life building my ideal society, even if it's just me who get to enjoy it.
Yep. And it's funny because somebody asked me that about my stuff. What if you don't get anybody to come? I said, then I guess I got a large playroom.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I am. I'm okay with that.
Yes. Yeah. 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 That's it. When you play nigga games, that's what you win, nigga prizes.
Yeah. Or the Darwin Award. Here's your sign.
It's just that people really think that they're just gonna monkey branch over to the good life from nigga culture, and that's not how that works. Yeah, you're trying to monkey branch into the asteroid belt.
Yeah. And in that respect, that's just another sign of how much niggas have become like women.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what women do. They monkey branch from one to a higher status, so on and so forth, and they're literally operating in the same set.
Yeah. That's what they do. They ride the coattails of someone else to get to a higher status without having to actually put in the work. While men are supposed to actually be doing the work to get to that point. But you see a lot of guys that they're more like they're pretty much winning.
Yeah. And that's I'm sorry, go ahead, MOT.
Yeah, so it's like you're not gonna hatch a live chicken from a pickled egg. Like that's what they think's gonna happen. I'm gonna be a pickled egg. I'm gonna sit here in this solution after I get hard boiled, and when the time is right, I'm just gonna become this hatched chicken. I'm like, nah, man. Once you immerse yourself in certain types of environments, that environment is you. And sometimes you have to throw the whole nigga away and start over.
Yeah.
Go to another city.
And not to be funny,
knowing you.
But not to be funny, I've done that.
I have too.
I've done that. So sometimes it's just got to be what it is. That's why as soon as I could, man, and we talked about this before, straight in the military, I had to go. I had to go. Had to go. I had to do it. Had to do it. But yeah, you throw the baby. Sometimes you got to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but like I said, that foundation, you gotta. Yeah, man. It's got to start with introspection for me, and then it's got to start with that one question: why?
Yeah.
It has to.
Yeah.
Because that one question, like I said, opens the door to everything. And you got the ones like the two of you guys were saying, the ones who want to ride coattails and all that good stuff, and it's always going to be, it always has been, so it'll continue. But how can I put it? It's funny because they want to call down the rain without expecting to have to deal with mud. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just,
or there being a possible flood.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's just weird. But like I said, just it's not even a race thing. It's just it's a gender thing. I mean, seriously, it's a man
it's
thing.
a people thing too.
Yeah, no, most definitely, it's a people thing across the board. But being very specific, even when you include both genders, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still a more important function of the male gender than it is the female one.
Oh yeah, without
Because
it.
if for no other reason, because we have to build the society.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what we do. We have to build the society. We have to build the technology. We're responsible for protection in the whole 9 yards.
well, the
So
first thing is establishing the code and principles that the society is supposed to stand on.
exactly. And again, you can't get to that until you ask that question. Why?
Yeah,
Why am I doing this? Why does the society need to work this way? Why does this society need to exist? You know what I'm saying? Why does the function have to be this way? It's it all comes back to why. It always does. It always does.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's through why that you find out what your actual goals are,
yeah,
um, and your reasoning for those goals as well.
exactly. Because that's going to take you where you want to be.
Yeah,
And just like MOT said, once you get that set, as you go along the path, you're going to have way stations where you stop to pause a little bit to make sure that you're on point. If you're not, what course correction do you need to do? You see what I'm saying?
right.
So it's like a business proposal, man. A business
Yeah,
proposal
Yeah.
is broken down into three sections. You got the overall business plan, you got the strategic marketing aspect, and then
mm,
you have the exit strategy. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
mean, it really comes down to those three things.
Yes. Wow. It's nice right there.
Yeah,
And
yeah. But yeah, just the overall general business. The overall section is to explain what you're doing and how you're going to do it, and to some degree why. And then, like I said, the strategic marketing and operation plans is going to break down exactly how you're going to do it. And an exit strategy is twofold actually. One is if you get it successful enough, you can sell it and make a higher profit than when you started it. Or
mhm.
B, it's an exit strategy that if it doesn't work, how you're going to get out of it.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense.
So those three things are important. And and truth be told, life should be a business plan. I mean, it really should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And man, that's I think that's why to what you alluded to is the reason why I brought up the point about you know most individuals thinking that only the facts that favor them are actual facts, and then but for the countless who make up the world, facts that act against them are the only facts they know, and it just goes to show their emotional perspective on facts. So it creates this perpetual um, cesspool of victimhood for one, and then this perpetual uh, pool of fuckery for the other that they can do whatever because it's in their favor, versus the other, creating staying this perpetual victim narrative because that's the only facts that they know emotionally. So instead of trying to create something that they can actually get out of that, while the other end, they know that if somebody doesn't hit them in the face, they know it's not good. But as long as they're hitting other people, it's fine.
Yeah, and it's a comfortability thing too, because it gives onus for them to be lazy, irresponsible, and always pass the blame on someone else other than
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
I mean that's a given. That excuse me, that's a given.
I agree.
Um, and again, it's always been that way, and it'll always be that way.
Yes.
It always comes down to people like us, where you eventually have to separate
Oh yeah.
and go do your own thing. Like MOT said earlier, one of the in order to do anything, one of the first things you have to do is take yourself off the field. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And look, I don't care what facts people want to bring up. I don't care what debate they want to come at me, whether it be scripturally, secular, it doesn't matter to me. One thing that has to be done that cannot be denied, you have to remove yourself from the playing field. It's the only way to step back long enough to see the bigger picture. It's the only way to step back to catch that deep breath and say, again, why? You know? Just because everybody else in the hood is selling dope, why do I have to do it? Just because everybody else ends up in jail, why do I have to do it? You understand what I'm saying? You got to remove yourself from the field, and for no other reason to give yourself the opportunity to have a perspective outside of what you're literally in.
Right. And then the other why that comes with it is, why are they doing it? And then, is the reason worth that why?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That is a key question as well. It absolutely is. And like I said, MOT said it best. You got to remove yourself from the field. That's why when I first got here, one of the first things I said, you ain't got to go hardcore like me, but you do need to step away.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You ain't got to be ultra black pill or nothing like that like me, but you do need to step away, and you need to understand that. Trust me when I tell you, it ain't as bad as you think to take a break from it.
Yeah. Well, that stepping away, like you and MOT talked about, all it is giving you a better vantage point to see things clearly.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what I was trying to say. A better vantage point. Yeah.
Everybody needs that Batman prep time.
It's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Because that's how we roll in Gotham. You feel me?
Yeah, exactly.
Or not to go all Lord of the Rings, but one doesn't simply walk into Mordor. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But seriously, yo, you got to take yourself off that playing field. You got to take yourself off the field, man. And one of the first steps to that is, like I said, you got to step away from the pussy. If you don't want to do it forever, that's great. Don't do it forever, but you need to be smart enough to know, hey, I need a break from this. Let me step back 2, 3, 6 months, whatever it is for you. But at the minimum, you should go 30 days without thinking about pussy, without dealing with pussy, without trying to chase pussy. Just 30 days. 30 days. You can do it. Exactly. And that's always the answer I get. And I'm like, see, and then you want me to call you a man. And I can't do that, because any true man has a certain level of discipline that he should be able to last anything for 30 days.
Hey, Lawrence, you pretty much asked these dudes to not breathe.
I know. Because remember one time, like a couple of months ago, because me and you, I do tea, and then we both do coffee.
Yeah, and I do tea as well sometimes, but you do it definitely more than me.
Yeah. But remember that time with my cigars and my coffee, I just cold stopped.
Yeah.
No reason, just because it just seemed like a thing to do.
Right.
And before I knew it, 2.5 months went by. Now we talking about coffee, and we talking about cigars. That's my morning routine. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I get up in the morning, I make me a cup of coffee, I have a nice cigar, and then I go start my day. But if you can't have enough discipline to do without what you need for 30, to do without what you love or think you need for 30 days, you're no good to anybody, but most especially you're no good to yourself.
Hey, watch this, Lawrence. I got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Are coffee and cigars your purpose?
No, they are not.
Okay. You asking these dudes.
Okay, you got me. You got me. Okay. I hate you, man.
I mean, that's literally what you're asking. I mean,
you got me.
A man not having a purpose is, not being anything at all. For them, that's their purpose.
Yeah.
For men that actually have some type of sense, it's not, man. It's not their purpose.
Yeah, but like
they want to act like wolves, man. They want to act like a pack of wolves.
Well, they're doing it pretty good. They're doing it pretty good. I mean, they're not doing anything except going out on the prowl. And even wolves are better at it. At least they find one chick and mate with her for life.
Yeah.
I mean, even wolves are better at it. So.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
No,
You talk bad about the wolves there.
Yeah, I mean, the wolves ain't out there trying to attack every piece of ass that comes by them. They find one chick, and wolves mate for life. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Even in a lot of cases, even when one of the mates die, the other one doesn't reattach themselves to anybody else.
Right.
They either stay with the pack as a sole individual, or they get, or if it was the pack leader, they get excommunicated or ostracized or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
What they are, it's a wolf without their pack. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Lone wolf without the ability to hunt or anything else. That's what they are. Lone wolf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's crazy, man. Yeah. But like I said, that foundation, every man's got to stop long enough to do that. And the only way to do it properly is you got to step back from everything. It's the only way. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way. And like I said, I've done it multiple times in my life. And I can honestly sit here and say I have never had a moment where I regretted doing it, because it's always helped me refocus. It's always helped me redirect, clean up, the whole 9 yards. As that, it does what it's supposed to do. It keeps me on point.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And again, I
mean, like.
No, I'm sorry, MLT. Go ahead.
Yeah, like in my family, we used to take people to the country and drop their ass off at my uncle's house.
Mm.
If you couldn't hang out and be around normal people and act right.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be out there for like a month, and then they would come back, and then there'd be a changed person.
Yeah, we used to do that too. Yeah, we used to do that too. Yep. As a matter of fact, growing up, one of the things that I do give my family credit for is that every summer we went somewhere to work a farm. Every summer. And we all lived in the city, but they made sure we all went, whether it was Goldsboro, North Carolina, or if it was in Raleigh, Durham, or whatever it is. But every summer we went, and when I say we went to work a farm, we worked a farm. And if we didn't have a farm to work, they would send us to work the fields. You feel me? I mean, as a kid, man, I used to pick beans and cotton and all that stuff, man. For real. Yeah. And it's something that we've lost because like the saying goes, hard work builds character.
Well, I can say two of the things I never did was the tobacco fields, and I never did cotton. By that point, I was born to a point where I didn't do it. But as far as the vegetables, picking berries, beans, corn. My grandmother had a garden, so so I'd be out there tomatoes and whatever, potatoes and cabbage and stuff like that. So
and the worst one for me was cotton. And
I heard that. I heard those. That's why I said I heard that and tobacco were the worst.
Yeah, they are. But here's the funny part. I wasn't upset at the hard work. I was upset because like I said, I did the beans, I did the fruit, the tobacco, all that good stuff. But the cotton itself specifically gave me issue. And when I got older, I realized it was because, you grow up, Alex Haley's Roots is fresh in your mind. So as a kid, you're kind of pissed that you sit here picking cotton. You know what I'm saying? It became personal. So it was just but that was a personal thing. That was me being caught up in my feelings.
Gotcha.
But when I got older, what's that? Do you
what?
stick to dietary? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I stick to the dietary laws, Wagner. And what was that other thing? If so, how do you stick to it?
Yes.
I don't know how to answer that.
It's like breathing for him.
It's
That's the only way I know to explain it. Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, you keep track of, what stores have what. You try to find a Jewish kosher place where you can go buy. It's going to be more expensive. I'm going to tell you that right now. Where you can get your meats from. If you can't find a Jewish kosher place, your second best choice would be a halal place, an Arab place, because they follow the same dietary plan. And as far as it goes for a lot of stuff, as I've said many times before, I grow a lot of my own food. I really do, from herbs to vegetables to fruit, and I mean even to some of the medicinal stuff that I use. I grow myself. Um, the only and whenever you're ready to buy something, man, you look at the package. You learn to break down what all those scientific words are on the back of the package. And if you don't know, we have walking encyclopedias in our pockets. Look it up.
Right.
And make sure that whatever that is, it's not it's not a byproduct of pork or pork bellies or seafood or anything like that. But I don't know how else to answer that. It's just practice, man, and practice, being consistent, and doing the research. That's all I can. That's all I can tell you. And then after a while, it becomes second nature. I will admit I had a little bit of an advantage because growing up, my cousin William was Muslim, so I learned a lot from him as well. But as I got older, like I said, it becomes a reflex thing after a while. But it always starts off with research, being consistent, and all that. I hope I answered that properly. I don't know how else to answer it, unless MOT or Eisen want to throw something in.
Oh no! That question is not for me.
That's right. I remember. Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, I still eat my bacon.
Yeah, I was going to say I remember that.
and I'm not sure. And I do wild game, and I'm not sure. What wild game and what types of fish are off the menu. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, because it's in my head now. I mean, I've been doing it so long, it's just in my head, so I know. Right. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
MOT, glad to have you back. Well, I guess he's back.
He's there.
He's
gone. Yeah, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
we hear you
outside
now.
All right, so it's just that with the dietary restrictions, I don't go past a certain place within the supermarket, and I time myself going in and out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point in the supermarket I can walk right past all of it. It don't mean nothing to me now.
Yeah. Most of it I can too. So
yeah, it just doesn't mean anything. And as a matter of fact, if I go in for certain things and they're like right next to like if I'm going in for steak, right? I'll make sure that it's a certain distance from all the other stuff I'm not supposed to eat, because I don't want to touch in bleeding by accident or nothing like that. So certain things like I said, you got to find things that work for you. Like I said, I drive an hour away just to go to a Jewish kosher place. And if I can't do that, then I'll drive half an hour away to, like I said, a halal place that's run by Arabs, because I know they're not dealing with any of that, and I don't have to worry about it. And it's just a clean set of meat. I can pick it up and I can keep it moving. And as far as it goes for everything else, like I said, I grow my own, and I cook a lot of my own, like bread. I make my own bread.
Hey, all right.
Both leavened and unleavened. Well, you have to, because you have to know these things for when Passover and stuff comes, and unleavened bread, the cedar plate, and all that. You got to know all that.
Hey, like I said, you talking about it, it teaches me a lot. As far as a lot of rituals and customs. So
yeah. But like I said, growing up with my cousin William, he was Muslim. Then, like I said, I got adopted at 14 by a Jewish family. So it's just part of my nature now. It just is what it is.
Right. I see.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's it's, like I said, it's reflex for me.
Yeah.
But like I said, I hope that helped, Wagner. I don't, I don't know if it did or not.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest things was just the first off. I think one of the things I quit early on was sodas and stuff like that. I hardly ever have one. I'm not gonna lie, but it's different though. If I go to one of those real Mexican taco trucks or whatever, I may get one of them sodas, but that's pure cane sugar, not
It is.
not the processed crap.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's my cousin William's one weakness, Mountain Dew.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, you're drinking the rot gut of sodas, man.
Yeah.
And when I say he drinks, I'm talking about like a liter at a time, dude.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. messed up his teeth and everything, man. He had to get a lot of dental work done.
Damn, yeah, no.
But I learned about sodas in the military because when you're out on field maneuvers in the desert and everything, man, they tell you that soda is not good. It'll dehydrate you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that was something golly. I minimized that. I started minimizing it. Golly. Over 10 years ago. Yeah, I would say, and then I hardly ever deal with them. Period. Now, like I said, other than if I do that, but yeah, so I'm there on that, and then the other thing was staying away from the processed meats.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because like I said before, somebody had asked me, Burger King or something like, well, nah, man, I'd rather just go home, defrost something, and make my own burgers. And they're like, you rather put in all that work and we can just stop real quick? I said, well, first of all, I make a better burger anyway. Yeah. Second of all, man, I'm not trying to give them that processed stuff, the way it's cooked, not even just the way it's cooked, the way it's handled alone.
Yes. And I made a great point. That's the other one too. That is true. Right? I do drink a lot of water. I try and get in at least 3 liters a day, if not more, especially with the work I do. Being that because of the work I do, I really can't fast because I have to have food because it usually gets hot. I mean, humidly, it's blistering hot.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not outside. So I have to eat. But the one thing I do is drink plenty of water because I need it so I don't dehydrate because I'm constantly sweating.
Yeah. And here's something else to take into consideration. A lot of people don't know as well. If you want to lose weight, uptaking your water will help you with that.
Yes.
Because fat is soluble.
Well, and not only that, the thing is your stomach doesn't empty out for water. Unless it just gets so full, but
right.
But so that's why they always say to also drink a glass of water before you actually eat.
Right. Because like for me, first of all, because I want to say something about the water, but first of all, before I get there, let me say this: you have to be careful with your intake because there is such a thing as water poisoning as well.
Yeah, too much. Yes, I guess.
Yeah, too much of it will do that. But the thing I wanted to say is that I learned a long time ago when you first wake up, putting something cold on your stomach is not a good thing. So when I get up, the first thing I have is not coffee. The first thing I have is actually a cup of hot water with lemon in it. It actually helps with your digestive system for the rest of the day. Then after that, my coffee, my cigar, like I said earlier. Because I'm usually up and moving around 6:37, so that gives me enough time to get in my daily walk, do a little bit of with the weights, you know what I mean, and then go into my coffee and my cigar and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's true. Your body can't tell the difference between thirst and hunger. And then from there, now my water, I alternate my water throughout the day, just because I like it. I generally have a glass of regular water with a slice of lemon, but I also keep a pitcher of cucumber water, which is really good. This is really good.
I know a cousin of mine. He'll do the warm water. He'll put a little apple cider vinegar in there. It does the same thing as the lemon as far as alcohol in the water.
Yeah, actually, it does that, and believe it or not, the apple cider also helps with the fat.
Yeah, it does help with the fat. I think, and it also helps to flush too. I believe.
Yep. And then I mean, there's a lot of home remedies, man, that work far better than anything you can buy in the store. I remember I had to break something down for somebody who kept buying all that peroxide based teeth whitener stuff. And I'm like, dude, you get a couple of pieces of oh my goodness, Lord, I got it right on the tongue. That's oh my god, not cinnamon, the other one.
Nutmeg?
No. I can't believe it. I can't remember it. But anyway, it's you add that and a couple of drops of lemon with some baking soda and you mix it up, and you can see the results instantaneously.
Wow.
It's not cinnamon. What the hell is it? It's the one that looks like almost like a root from something.
Oh, you're not talking about not ginger.
Yeah, that's it. Ginger. There you go. Okay. Thank you. That was it. Thank you. Man, that was hard. Yeah. You cut off a couple of pieces of ginger, and you slice a lemon and you squeeze a couple of lemon drops in there, and then you drop down. It's like hold on. So I got the recipe here. Hold on one second.
Okay.
There it is. Half a tablespoon of ginger. You got to grate it. Right. Then a quarter baking soda, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice,
quarter cup.
Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry. Quarter spoon. I'm sorry. A quarter spoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and a half a spoon of whatever toothpaste you use.
Oh, okay.
Then you mix it up real good. I mean, it's gonna be messy, but you mix it up real good. You put it on your toothpaste like you would anything else, and then you go for it.
Okay, well, all right.
You could see 1 or 2 shades like instantly by the time you're done gone.
Oh wow, it's all good information.
Now for somebody who drinks coffee and smokes cigars, that's big because you know those stain your teeth.
Yeah. I have that problem too. Being I'm a coffee drinker, so yeah.
But like I said, I mean, in all fairness, dude, all you have to, I mean, just talking to everybody in the chat, all you have to do is just like type in YouTube, man. You find all that stuff, man. Natural home remedies, man.
Cool.
And like I said, for me, it's easy because, like I said, I grow damn near everything.
Right.
Now me with the toothpaste, I use Tom's because Tom's doesn't have fluoride in it because fluoride actually damages your teeth and it's not good because it's not naturally occurring fluoride like people think. It's a it's a waste byproduct of some process, I think from fertilizer or something. Like Hulk might know better than I.
Yeah, was it salicylic acid or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but it's but you know the crazy thing about when it comes to health, and salute Eisen and Lawrence and everybody else.
Shalom. I'm sorry.
Everything that comes with this is that creation takes care of itself. We don't need the world has convoluted how we think of health because if you think about it, trees grow and produce their own fruit, water in this naturally occurring process, all this stuff. It's just that people want to get into doctors and chemicals and pharmaceutical drugs because they are rejecting the way things are designed to go. Mm-hmm. You don't need to overthink your health. You just need to use common sense because like you said, clean water. What does clean water mean? You have to qualify every statement now because like you said, they putting stuff in the water. They got atrazine, they got chlorine. Chlorine messes with your thyroid and it messes with your all of that stuff. Yeah. Chlorine, fluorine, atrazine, the endocrine disruptors, and then most people don't realize that the pharmaceutical drugs and the hormones that are in the water, they can't get filtered out.
They can't.
Yeah, so because
I mean they can, but you have to have a hell of an osmosis system.
Yeah, you got to have that reversed vapor distillation process, which is very expensive and very energy.
Oh, I know it's expensive. I have one.
Yeah.
And we talking anywhere from $700 to $1,500, depending on how big the system is and how much you want it to filter through the house.
And most state and government municipal centers are not using that.
Yeah. No, they're not.
And they want you to believe that. I mean, we already know the lead crisis. I mean, the lead crisis that was going on in several states. Don't think that Flint, Michigan was an isolated
Right.
occurrence.
It
Man,
That
wasn't.
was what the media was using to polarize the thing, but
Mhm.
it's been occurring everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and to your point, that's one thing I am glad about living in a smaller area. Man, I can taste a big difference in the water from whenever I go to a city. I will not fool with none of that city water, man. I can literally smell the chemicals coming out of there, man. It's terrible, man.
You can literally see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can too.
Trust
Yeah,
me.
you can there too. Yes, I agree. You're right.
Yeah.
When I was
Yeah.
in DC, and one not so good neighborhood in my 20s, the water wasn't necessarily clear.
Yeah.
So it was that obvious, and this is not isolated. This is in most major cities when you get to certain areas, and
Yeah.
in the infrastructure of the cities, the type of pipes they're using these pipes that are rotting, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of lead pipes, a whole bunch of
Yes.
infrastructural issues that they're trying to address now, but they're not going to tell the public exactly what the real issue is, and they're just going to kind of create a good valid excuse to why people are getting sick until they have to explain it.
Mhm.
That's what
Until
they're
they have
doing.
to
Like,
actually fix the problem
yeah,
instead
like
of
the
putting duct
kids,
tape on
yeah, like
it.
kids having mental deficiencies and all this stuff. I mean, outside of parents just not raising their kids, that's the main cause. But the chemicals are not helping.
No, and the kids have been infected since day one. Because you got to remember, there's still and again, Hope follows this more than I do. So if I'm wrong, correct me, please, brother. But a lot of the starting from day one as a kid, a lot of the shots you get have a mercury chaser to it.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I even have a bigger explanation for vaccines. Okay, they want to tell you the vaccines and things. And I know this is a topic, but vaccines are actually causing like when they give you a vaccine as a baby,
Hmm.
they're stopping the development of your immune system.
That is
That's what
correct.
they're doing. And
Mm,
that's because if you notice that most children have the same symptoms for vaccines: eczema, psoriasis, asthma,
Hmm.
etc. And what that is that when you're a baby, your body is shedding, it's like it's shedding skin, and it's getting rid of stuff from your mother so you can develop your own defense mechanism. And it
That's
starts with
correct.
your skin.
right. Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
And
And
that's why,
oh, go ahead. My bad. I thought you done. Keep
no,
going.
no, it's good. I was going to say that's why most of these reactions they manifest themselves in the skin first.
Right.
Yeah, it's your
Right.
first sign. Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
first sign something's
Yeah.
wrong.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Mhm.
And and it makes me go back to think, when we were younger, and if it's men, we grilling, cooking out, we always had the old 5 second rule. Now these kids being taught by their mama. Oh no, don't pick that up, don't man.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It
We
was
had
still hot and good.
yeah,
Just blow that grass off there, be good.
yeah, we had two of them. We had the 5 second rule and we had the kiss it up to God. Remember? Yeah, I remember that. I
And what's
remember
so
that.
crazy is, if it falls on the concrete, man, the sun been baking that crap.
Yeah.
The concrete is gonna be cleaner than your average kitchen table.
And
That's
here's the thing. Autoimmune issues, everybody has food allergies and such. And I tell people it's not that your body is allergic to food or pollen or all these things. It's just that your body reaches a chemical threshold.
Yeah,
And if you think about it, peanut allergies didn't come until they started spraying pesticide on the peanuts.
that's
Food
correct.
allergies didn't come until they started genetically first they started with
GMOs,
cross.
GMOs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first they crossbred weak genetic strands of food. That's why you have seedless grapes,
yeah,
and
hmm,
you have all these seedless things. They started to manipulate that, and they put pesticide. And what your body, when they say you have a food allergy, your body is reacting to the fakeness of the food, like the GMO, the pesticide, the antibiotics, what they put it.
everything,
Yeah,
steroids,
all
anything.
steroids. Yeah, that's what your body is reacting to. Your body isn't reacting to a natural food. It's reacting to the altered state of that food, of that
well, that's
organism.
that's one of the reasons why you have the level of obesity that you have.
Exactly.
Because people are eating GMOs. GMOs are not nutrient rich. So even after
Hmm.
you eat, your body's still craving nutrients and you think it's just hunger. So you turn around and you eat more of the same thing that's not helping you to begin with.
Yeah,
And you're right. And it angers me because people know this. They know, like, the information's out there. They tell you that the food is grown from nutritionally deficient soils, and they're actually engineering food that can grow with minimal water, minimal sunlight, and minimal nutrients in the soil. So all it is the look of food with no nutritional value. This information is put out there, but people sit there and say, "Oh, I need a shot, I need a drug," even though the information out there to tell you, no, it's just your food doesn't have any nutritional value.
Yeah, and then to make matters worse, and I've said this in a conversation with my cousin William. Here's the biggest kicker of all. Why would you trust a group of people who did nothing but experiment on us for centuries?
Mm.
I mean, because most doctors nowadays are trained not even to really analyze your symptoms. It's like, okay, this is happening. I'm going to give you this, and then push you off.
Well,
Exactly.
you've had a few doctors that come out. It's pretty much all the national health system is a money making scheme to give you a pill to cover up the problem.
Oh,
To
absolutely,
make more,
absolutely,
make more money.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And,
they deal
what
with
makes it
symptoms.
worse, and what makes it worse is that everybody's bought into propaganda that okay, it can be fixed with a pill.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Instead of doing the work.
And I made a good point about stress. That's how the
yes.
body evolves. And I'm not talking about no macro evolution. I'm just talking about in terms of creating a response and adapting to your environment. That's what
Right.
the body does. That's how your immune system is developed.
Yeah.
Well, I
You know,
mean,
if you,
I was gonna say that's how you build muscle.
yeah,
Yeah,
muscle and bone density. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You break it. I mean, you break the muscle literally for it to build up
In micro
stronger.
tears. Yeah, micro
Yes.
tears and
hmm
micro stresses on the bones. It recalcifies, it rebuilds, it restructures that bone matrix,
Yep.
assuming the nutritional quality is there to a stronger thing. That's why kids have to move. Kids have to have activity. They can't be sedentary. And they're
Yep.
Yes.
destroying the kids because the kids are sitting around, they're not moving, they're not playing sports because sports are competitive and we live in this microaggression society now. So the kids are
Yeah.
afraid to get aggressive. It's natural
hmm
for boys to test their strength. That's
Yep.
natural.
Yeah.
And
And not only
exactly.
natural, it's required.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you have so many fighters that are in good shape because
hmm
of the simple fact they're having they're putting their body through a rigorous, stressful physical activity to be able to build it up, to be able to take that regularly for what they're doing.
Yep.
I mean, so pretty much all it is that their body is getting used to the impact
hmm
to build it up.
Yep. And again, going back to the skin, I mean, you can see it every day. I mean, I look, I was born high yellow. I got pictures. No, I'm dead ass. I got pictures to prove it. But going down, like I said, over the years, working in those fields when I was growing up in 09 yards, I'm dark as hell. That's a sign your body's compensating to
Yeah.
protect you
Yeah.
from heat, sunlight, etc., and so on. I mean, it is what it is.
It is.
Yeah, I wore long. I always wore pants and sleeves. Well, maybe not so much sleeves. So, yeah, I still kind of light, but during the summertime I do darken up just a little bit. But I never had the problem that some others did. As far as getting sunburned and peeling and all that. I could be out there forever and be
Yeah,
fine.
And
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
thing. The sun, they actually proved that the sun block that they put on actually has chemicals that is causing the cancer.
Oh
So they
wow.
so they
Yeah, I
blame
remember
it on
that.
the sun, but it's the chemicals and the
Yeah.
lotions and all this stuff that people are putting on their skin that's causing the cancer. But they're scapegoating to act like. Think about this. The world wants to convince people that breathing air, flowers, eating food, and getting sunlight is causing cancer instead of realizing that your food is compromised. Your skin
Mhm.
has been weakened. Your immune system
Hmm.
has been poisoned to the point where you can't even breathe in natural processes. And see,
Right.
that's
Mhm.
why you have an auto reaction to pollen. Is because your body is in such an inflammatory state that natural things are just causing inflammation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
that's real because when I was in New York, I used to suffer from it all the time. And then
mm,
when I got here to Florida, I spent 2 years suffering from it. But like you and Ike said, your body's got to go through stress. And
mhm,
by the third year, man, I don't get that no more.
Yeah, stress and detox because a lot of us
Mhm.
coming from environments where we've been poisoned by aluminum and all these things, we have to detox. And most people don't focus on that's why fasting is so good. And I'm
Yep.
water fasting. I mean, any kind of fasting, but particularly give your body a time to really eliminate all the things because most of us have grown up in households with women who just feeding us food. and they're not like really specific on, am I feeding this child natural foods?
Yeah, I
They
was,
go
yeah,
to yeah.
I was getting ready to say they're not feeding us food, you know. But
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you're right, man. Because it's like, just like milk. That everybody wanted you to believe that, oh, you need to drink milk, but we don't qualify what milk is. We got milk coming from cows that are eating GMO feed, injected with steroids and antibiotics and all of this stuff, and it's not, and nothing is natural. Like
Yep.
it, like beef is good. Beef is actually good if you eat it in limited quantities. The
Right.
question is it real?
Yeah, and to add insult to injury on the milk thing, take this in consideration. What other creature on the planet drinks
Drinks
the
other
milk
exactly.
from another animal?
That's the logic that people don't want to address. It's like,
Mm,
okay, and you notice that most women don't breastfeed their children because they hear, oh,
you're right.
it's going to do this to your body. They're thinking more about their vanity than the health of their
Yeah.
children.
True.
And not just that, I'm gonna take it a step further. If the woman is not taking care of herself before, during, and after her pregnancy, then the breast milk has low quality anyway.
Yep. Yep.
You
Oh
got
wow.
you got women drinking alcohol, smoking all kinds of narcotics and drugs, and eating all kinds of food, and then even the ones that are breastfeeding their children are poisoning them.
Well, hot
Yeah.
damn. Shalom, Space Cowboy. I ain't seen you in a minute, man. What's good, man? Wow. 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 Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I'm sorry, Hulk. I didn't
Nah,
mean
you
to,
good? Nah, you good, bro. But I'm just
I ain't seen Space Cowboy in a minute.
It has been a while. It has.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm sorry, you were saying Hulk. I'm sorry.
Yes, you're right about that aspect, because most people, the overbite, underbite, uh, the lack
Oh
of
yeah.
maturity, that's coming because we're not getting the nutrition we need, um, in vitro and when we're born, we're not getting that nutrition we need. So basically, everybody has like a slight overbite, underbite, because first of all, we're not being breastfed long enough. And I'm not talking about like
Or if at
just,
all.
or if at all, and then if we are, the quality of it is garbage, and that has a man. The first year of your life is the most important.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Most
that's the case regardless of what creature you are.
Yeah, because your teeth, your jaw, your skeletal structure has matured to compensate for the teeth that are growing in. So if you're
Hmm.
underdeveloped at that crucial state when your jaw is developing, then you're still going to grow the same amount of teeth. That's why a lot of us have dental issues that we come to, and we're thinking that, oh, it's some kind of thing. No, wisdom teeth. They want you to tell you that your wisdom teeth are not useful. But here's the thing: your mouth didn't fully compensate for the teeth that grow in. And see, when you're trying to grow teeth in to a jaw that wasn't fully matured to its extent at a certain age, then of course you're going to have issues. That's why everybody has to get their wisdom teeth extracted. And if you look at even the jaw, and this is not no evolutionary thing, this is just lack of nutrition. When you look at the jaw of people 100 years ago, they had, because they ate better foods, they didn't have teeth problems. Even people overseas who have minimal food, the food they do eat is such a rich quality coming from nutrient soils. Either they have volcanic soils or beach and live near beaches or something, or oceans where the soils replenish naturally, and they have a certain homeostasis with their environment. They don't have the teeth problems that people over here have in America. They have every other problem. They have clean water issues. They have, uh, dysentery and stuff that comes from living in bad conditions, but they don't have the teeth problems.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Because like I tell people, it's I'm 54 or coming up on 54 rather. And there's something to be said when I can go in on my annual physical at the VA, and the doctors always laugh because they tell me my blood pressure and everything else comes across like I'm 20 years old.
Yeah,
Mm.
that
That's because I'm doing something right.
you're growing your own food. You're taking care. First of all, it starts in your mind. And this is
Yeah, it
respect that.
does.
We had even Ike brought this up on one of his streams. It all starts in your mind, your mindset. If you are aware that the government has an agenda to poison you, if you're aware that everything is not what you're being told, then you're already starting the process of elimination and detox and wise choices to strengthen your body. So
Yeah.
I'm not just like I just don't drink water. I'm just thinking about what water am I drinking? Am I drinking tap water? Where's the source coming from? I'm not just eating food. I'm thinking about, is this food see if you it's to an advantage if you're from a slightly older generation, because I used to be in the country, and I remember, people who had their own land and grew their own food. So I know what a tomato looks like that's not genetically modified, because we used to cut them open and eat them right off the vine. I know what apples look like that grew on trees that weren't coming from commercial farming, because I grew up eating apples fresh off of trees that people in my family nurtured and took
Yeah.
care of.
Yeah, and
So,
I had to explain that too, because a lot of people, I was breaking down, how to start gardens and stuff like that.
mhm,
Most of them got it, no problem, they understood it. But some of them,
right,
I had to explain it, because they would do something and they was like, oh well, this spot is on this spot is on that. Dude, that's what it's supposed to be.
exactly.
And they're looking and they're like, wait, well, what? I said, no,
And,
dude,
and tell people to and
that's the
tell people to
natural
stop.
form. That's the natural form it's supposed to be. You brought into this whole thing about it being sprayed, a coat of wax put on it, and made
Yep,
it to look pretty. That's not the natural state of stuff when it grows naturally. It's just not.
exactly.
You get spots. You get little brown spaces here and there. And trust me when I tell you, it's not rotten. It's just the way it looks. You can
Hmm.
eat it. It's okay. So
And another
yeah,
thing they do is they pull the fruit before it's fully matured off the tree. And so if you look at it now, like, there's an issue with pulling fruit off before it's done. Or you over, because everybody's looking at size of the fruit. Like you said, they're looking at the shininess of it. Natural fruit is not shiny. Like a natural apple isn't shiny.
yeah, they wax it. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't know that they put a very thin coat of wax on it to give that shiny thing. That's why you always got
Yeah.
taught to wash your apple or to rub it up against your shirt before you
Yeah.
bite into it.
Yeah.
There's a reason we have those things, because we know this.
Yeah. And it's just like, common sense. People are very trusting of the world, and that's the problem, man. You don't realize that once commercial farming took over, you don't have people who are eating what they grow. See, that was the checks and balances, that farmers usually ate what they grew, so they wouldn't just put in
Yep,
chemicals because it would have poisoned their own family.
Right.
that's
But
one.
now
Yep,
commercial
that's
farming, it's all about mass production, and those people don't eat. They know what the chemicals they putting in. They say this is for everybody else.
well.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I used to tell people back in New York too, especially when Chinese restaurants would pop up, because they'd be like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm going to get this." I said, "Yo, I got a question for you," and then they look at me like, "What? How come you never see the people serving you the food eat that food?"
Exactly.
They always have little clear bowls of stuff that's totally different that they drink or eat from themselves. They don't eat what's in that store.
But see,
I've never
Lawrence, that's
and and,
wisdom.
and, and if they do, I've never seen it.
That's
Hmm.
wisdom, though. You have wisdom to have discernment to notice those things,
Not bad.
and you're not just indoctrinated to just, oh, black people eat carry out, so let's eat carry out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've studied. I study history, and like I said, I know a lot of things that they've done to us, as black people specifically, and to society as a whole. Everything from dumping, like we talked about with the waste of the fluoride stuff, into rivers and
Hmm.
oceans, and then tried to play it off like it's good for you because fluoride's good for your bones and teeth. No, it's not. At least
And
not
where
that
do,
kind.
and
At
where
least
does it
not that
happen?
kind anyway.
And where does it happen most? In urban black communities.
Yes, yes. Yep.
Well, yeah. It just and it happens in general with all the poor communities. Period. Anyway,
Exactly.
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
they're lumped together.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
because
Um.
it's the same thing as the years of being on a plantation. You always got the slop and leftovers. That's why black people learned to cook chitlins and all that other nasty shit, because it was all you was left with.
I see
Um.
the. Oh, okay. You got
I
it.
was gonna say Imperator had a question. Hope mentioned identifying GMO tomatoes. He wanted to know how can you tell a normal tomato from a GMO tomato.
Well, see, for me, it was number one, the orientation of the seeds, the look of the seeds, just the look of the inside, the texture of it, and the taste of it. Like it's just like when you eat something that you like, and Lawrence, man, you may be able to relate to this because you grow your own food and you're older, so
Mhm.
you just know what things what that were grown naturally with the hands of people that you trusted looked like. You knew exactly like how it looked, when you cut it open, how the seeds, the size of the seeds, the color of the
Yeah,
seeds, like it's
yeah,
just
that's
like
true.
with people it's like with people who come from different cultures, tropical climates, they will tell you that where they're coming from, bananas actually have visible seeds. They'll
Yes,
tell
they
you that.
do. Well, they
But
do.
you
I,
won't.
I got a banana tree on the side of my house. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but you won't see a banana. You won't see seeds and bananas coming from commercial groceries.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And
Yeah,
and
because that's one of the benefits. Even with what we're going through, that was one of the benefits of being married to a woman from the Caribbean,
Yeah.
because they grew their own stuff. So what I already knew myself, she taught me a lot more. Same way I taught her what I knew from here. So on one side of the house, man, we grow bananas. Yeah, you're dead ass right. There's seeds on them. And
and
on the other side of the house, actually, I did my own hybrid. It's a combination of a lemon and an orange together. I use it to make juice.
okay.
So
And the other thing is too, I mean, most people, I mean, you can go, most locations have a farmer's market that you can go to. I mean, where you got
Hmm.
Amish and different other growers who grow
yeah,
naturally using, they may use the fish, the heads of fish or the carcasses of fish they've cleaned, to help nutrient provide nutrients to the soil and to the fruits and vegetables they grow.
yeah, yeah.
They
That's what I do. Every squirrel I kill gets buried,
as well
and
as eggshells and different
yeah,
things like that.
eggshells, old coffee grinds.
Yeah, kind of
Um,
compost and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
compost.
yeah.
I got two composts. I got a little mini one in the house for leftover vegetables. Like the ends that you don't want to eat, or the parts that might have gone bad. I just drop them into this little container that sits above the sink, and then out back in the yard, there's a big giant section where I cut the lawn,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and I take the grass and I drop it in there.
Exactly.
Old bits of cardboard and food leftover stuff, bones, yada yada yada, and just sit out there and it turns to compost. And I turn around and I reuse it.
Yeah,
And let me
and
tell you this.
go ahead.
Like when I talk about logic, I always tell people logic is basically reverse engineering of God's creation. Here's the thing: like if you look at how God replenishes things, when leaves fall off the trees, the leaves sit, pine needles sit, everything sits, and it breaks down and replenishes the soil. And so when
Hmm.
we think about man making his own compost, all we're doing is reverse engineering what nature does, what God does in His own creation, and that's
Hmm.
how we're designed to figure things out. Like when we saw how fruit fell off a tree and then it buried itself, and then animals ate the fruit, then took the seed and buried the seed instinctively, then we realized, okay, we can grow our own stuff based on how it occurs in nature.
Yeah,
That's the real origin of logic.
And
right.
even in scripture, it alludes to that, because it tells you when you're tending your fields, when you reap them and you harvest them, if you're
Hmm.
carrying whatever back and it falls to the ground, leave it for the beasts of the
Hmm.
field. It
Yeah.
tells you that. It literally
And
tells
Exactly.
you that.
and also too, another thing to point out, a lot of the Amish they use crap, to fertilize, these to fertilize their gardens and everything. So it's always a good idea to wash your food off too whenever you get it from the.
Well,
I'm just saying,
nah,
so
of
for
course.
people that don't know, that may be listening to this and maybe going out there and getting this.
The sad part about what Eisen said is that it's true. There
Yeah,
are
Yeah.
it is.
there really are people who don't know to do that.
Yeah.
I've
So
seen
I
them.
And y'all brought a point up that I want to just talk about. Y'all notice how I don't know how it is in your states, but now they make people pick up dog poop, right? And
huh.
when we grew up, well, when I grew up, well, I know Lawrence and Eisen, dogs went. You just kind of like if it was outside in the grass, you just kind of just like, okay, it's in the grass. You didn't pick it
Hmm.
up
Yeah.
because I think it's ironic that they literally put down horse manure and they force people to pick up dog poop.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
It,
That
you
is
just
true.
we just knew to let that mess turn white.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, you didn't step in it when it was wet. So
Exactly.
that's the best.
Exactly.
That's the best you could get. But yeah, I mean that wasn't a big deal to us. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they do now that to us it didn't matter. Riding a bicycle with a helmet and pads. What the hell is that?
Right.
I mean, nobody gave a damn about that. I mean, unless you were just learning to ride a bike and you were on a tricycle, yeah, you had something like that. But I mean,
Because
outside of that, man,
they want to they want to see it's the same thing technology is doing. See, people think technology is always good, but if you remember, for all the older folks who are at least 40 and up, or almost 40 and up, you remember that when you were growing up, you could remember a telephone. You knew everybody's telephone by memory, everybody's telephone
Yeah,
number by
I
memory.
agree. You're
yeah, I
right.
did.
But
Yeah.
now, today, because technology, we're so dumb we can barely remember our own.
Yeah, you have to program it. Yeah, you have to program it in your. As a matter of fact, there's a section when you buy a phone that it programs in for your own number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like people don't realize that what society is doing is taking away our ability, and it's really focused on the boys and the men because we steer society. Is
Right.
for us to maintain our critical thinking skills, to learn from our experience and grow from those experience and adversities. When you fall down, that's how you learn how to ride better or how to get back up. When something hurts you, it shocks your memory to say, let me not do that again, because you have a memory of that pain. That pain was a necessary tool to inspire you to excel, to be
Oh yeah.
better.
Oh yeah.
And they're
Remember.
stripping away that vital pain, that learning experience that kept people sharp, focused, competitive, and and had a mindset of of excelling. Because when you fail at something, it should make you want to overcome and become better and eventually succeed at what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Well, part of the failure thing, at least for us, those of us old enough to remember it, the failure thing was actually it was part of the game
Yeah,
because you failed, you got mad.
yeah.
Yeah.
you
And
got you got mad. You were like, oh no, this shit ain't gonna be me. No, 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 no,
yeah,
no, no, no.
the pain and the fear are wonderful teaching tools.
Oh yeah.
You're right. I mean, heck, we didn't have a helmet, didn't have none of all that mess on. Would
Mhm.
ride a bike with no hands.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
And
as
let
a
me
matter of
tell you,
fact, as
let
a
me
matter
tell
of
you what
fact,
the le- oh
if you broke an arm or something, that was a badge of honor, man.
yeah, it was because
Everybody wanted to sign the cast. Everybody wanted to talk
yeah,
about how you did it, the whole 9 yards. That was a
yeah,
badge of honor, man.
yeah.
and listen to this. See, and I'm a segue this to the medical industry. See, pain is that what they do is trying to numb all the symptoms of illnesses that have basically lifestyle issues. Like most
Mhm.
people have a lifestyle issue. They have nutritional issues, lifestyle issue, but they want to turn off the symptoms because all those NSAIDs and all those drugs, what they're doing is they're destroying nerves. They're giving you some kind of neurotoxin, something to dull your nerves. That's why
Mhm.
NSAIDs destroy your liver and kidneys because it's a toxin
Yep.
Mm.
that's dulling your nerves, so it turns off pain receptors. It doesn't really fix anything. Pain is necessary. If you have a headache, it's necessary that you understand you have a headache so you can make adjustments to your lifestyle and your nutrition and your regimen. That's why that's
Mhm.
for it. But if you just say I'm gonna take a pill and you're not even understanding why the headache went, then you'll just have a heart attack tomorrow because you
Yeah.
didn't heed the sign.
Exactly. And that's the point of pain. That's the point of having it, so you can recognize something's wrong and fix it.
Exactly.
Because like for me, like I said, me studying history and seeing what was done to us, and then in addition to that, how my body started to feel. And the first thing I did, the very first thing I did when I recognized that is I started researching and I started changing my water habits. You
Yep.
see what I'm saying?
Same thing. Yeah.
Because like for me, man, you've got to see the process in my house for cleaning water. It is detailed and it takes an hour.
I believe it.
Wow.
No, 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 I'm not bullshitting. First I run it through a common filter.
Mm.
Then I run it through a fluoride filter. Then after that, I drop an eighth of a teaspoon of borax in the water, so it could catch. So an eighth of a teaspoon inside of 1 gallon of water that will counteract whatever fluoride is left behind.
Yep.
Then I
I
strain,
oh my
then I
bad.
strain, then I strain it into the container. And then every time I use it, I strain it again just to be on the safe side. I'm telling you, man. My kids, they not,
Wow.
like I said, if they want me, they gonna have to come get me. I'm not gonna make it easy for them. I'm just not.
I put a question in the chat. Well, a series of questions in the chat that are very good. That
That's him.
we need to ask, and try to answer. How do you deal with the fact that the vast majority can't even understand what y'all are saying? How do you build a system to funnel them in the right direction? How do you burn the broker systems? And the last one, which is just as important, do
Do
we
we even care?
even care?
You want
Okay,
to
who
go?
want to
You
go
want
at
to
first? I,
let me go first because mine's gonna be
okay.
short.
Go
I
ahead.
Okay.
say I say the same thing I've said many a times. Like Not everybody can be saved, and not everybody should be saved. I'm done.
Well, that's
I'm
very
done.
concise. Can you put the questions up? Because I want to
Yes.
Okay, I want. Okay, it
Point by
says
point, I got you.
okay. The vast majority don't even understand. Okay, here's the thing. And I always tell people there's two types of people. There's ignorant people and there's stupid people. Ignorant people don't actually know. Stupid people know and don't care. So there's a like I said, there are people who actually hear this information. They will listen to us. We will break down this process very logically and methodology. The methodology of it is very simple, and they just still don't care. And there are some people who are hearing this for the first time, and the first time they hear it, they're actually going to say, "Wow, okay, let me make some changes right now." Those are the people that we're actually seeking to reach, particularly from the younger generation who didn't have parents or didn't have elders to warn them of these things. That's why we do it. So it's really for the next generation. There are a lot of people who are just set in their ways stupid. All right, they come in, they hear this information and they say, "Well, I just don't care. I'm gonna do what I feel. I'm gonna do what makes me happy," and all this feminine mindset stuff. Because that's what it is. That's a feminine mindset when you ignore the logic of something for the feeling of it. So, and what Lauren said definitely still applies. And then the next question is, how do we build a system to funnel them in the right direction? Well, that's what men are about. That's what we're doing right now. We're coming around like-minded, men who create a space where men who want to escape the feminine matriarchal mindset that has been on everybody can come into a space like this where they hear actual found men who have who are logical, who are spiritual, who are productive, break these things down. We're stepping out of that culture, that dysfunctional culture and broken society, and we're creating a space, a microcosm within it where people can escape and hear some true knowledge. And then it says, how do you burn the broken system? Well, we simply separate and let it burn itself.
All right. Um.
And do you care?
Oh, oh, I only the caring is what we do now among like-minded people. This is how we care for the people who hear what we say and they reject it. What does the Bible say about the wise and foolish man? That's the topic of the thing. It says the wise man was he who heard the word and heeded it. The
Yes.
foolish man was the one who heard the word and did not heed it.
Right.
So it kind of fixed itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Self-fulfilling prophecy to a degree.
Yeah. And I will say one thing. I will add to what you said, Hulk. There is a third type of individual. And this individual, they can't learn anything. That's the individual that thinks they know everything.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
That's true.
yeah. That's a good point. That's a real good point.
Yeah, that hubris and that arrogance, you're right, that narcissism, because
Yes.
a lot of us, we were stuck in this. We had to, we saw problems in our life and we either, we paid attention to the problems that we encountered or we came around like-minded people trying to escape the problems that we encountered. So you're right. You have to have humility.
Okay. And I guess I'll answer too. I'll start with the how do you build a system to funnel them in the right direction by doing what we're doing now, by creating a network of individuals of like mind who can discuss these things and create avenues for people to take them in a different direction than what they've been going if they so choose. The next one, how do you burn a broken system? Sadly, we're not at a point where we can actually literally do that. I think most of them need to be done like Sodom and Gomorrah and actually burnt. But but to the point that you made about separating ourselves from them and then making a strong stance against it too, I think is the way that you can do it. Do we even care? I think we care about those who have an actual hunger for this knowledge, for this information.
Exactly.
That we do care.
Yeah.
And then to go back to the first question, how do you deal with the fact that the vast majority can't even understand what we're saying? There's only one way to get an answer, to ask a question. So if they really want to know, they will ask questions.
Yeah,
to get answers.
Yeah, because for me, with the first question, It comes back to Yahweh Shai, or Jesus, as people call it. Let those who have ears hear. Let those who have eyes see.
Yep. Yep. And you know what's crazy? Channels like Eisen, Ike, and anybody whose channel who opens up their platforms, we understand that it's only a remnant, only a minority of people. If the Bible is clear about this,
Yes, it is.
it's
Yes, it is.
many are called, but few are chosen. Narrow is the gate, and straight is the way that leads to life, and few there be that find it. We have
Mm-hmm.
already have an understanding that the majority of the people are wicked. They love evil. This is not about them understanding it, it's that they love it. They
Yeah.
hate what is good and they love evil. It was John 3 talking about, and this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, but people love the darkness rather than the light, lest their deeds become reproved.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is what it is. Like, unfortunately, these channels should be huge. If the world made sense, these channels will be huge
Yeah.
because
And
people are offering foundational information for life.
I got to give a quick shout out to Marco Grande. Thank you for the cash out, brother. He said for the peace and well, we know what other type of talk that we're not doing here that he talks about.
Yeah.
So I thank you for listening in, brother. Thank you for supporting as
Yes, Luke
always.
Marco.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, salute Marco, salute, shalom. Because and that's that even what he just chimed in with, that's important as well, because and we've talked about this before. you know we have to move away from talking about peace leave. I mean, it is what it is. We got to start talking about getting ourselves straight. We got to start talking about getting in order.
Well, I think he just meant the female talk in general.
That's what I'm talking about too.
But
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because like I said before, we're at that point. Forget them.
Yeah.
We're at a point now where we're mentally broken. We're emotionally compromised, and we're physically challenged. And that is not the nature of man, regardless of what you believe in. Regardless of what you believe in, that is not the nature of man. It just isn't. So it's more important to talk about having these kind of topics and conversations,
Yeah.
and helping brothers get there. Because, like, for me, for instance, I'm really, really excited right now, because I know New had talked to me about starting a garden in his space. So I helped him out with some information. So I'm real excited to see how that works out for him. You know what I mean? I just want to see.
I'm going to start growing my own food. I should have been doing it, but because I was taking care of my grandparents, I had a lot going on. Now that God rest them, they're gone. I'm going to start doing all that stuff. I'm going to start, because, like I said, don't make excuses, man. If you have any kind of space, any kind of yard, even if you have a balcony or something,
that's what I said. Yeah.
Just do something, man,
Do
because
something.
Bill Gates just bought up a large amount of farmland in the country.
He has
the largest.
Yep.
You got it. You can say it.
Yeah, he's got the largest farmland of anybody in this country, and the second one, as soon as he did it, other billionaires started doing it.
Exactly.
So now the vast majority of farmland is controlled by billionaires. You also have to take in consideration the chairman and CEO of Nestle has been trying for decades now to make it where you get charged for water.
Wow.
Just basic water. He's been trying to push that through for like at least the last decade, easy. He wants people, the water that comes out of your tap, you should have to pay for that. He's trying to they're trying to control the land. He's trying to control the water. If that's not a sign that you need to get your shit straight and start maintaining yourself, because my next step is I'm trying to get to the point of making a homemade system where I can distill my own water, where you can just get it from the air and have it condensed and then drip it down and make your own clean. I'm working on that next.
Wow.
Like I said, if they want me, they got to come get me. I'm not going to give it willingly.
They've actually made that collecting rainwater illegal in some areas, which is crazy.
Yes, it is. It is. You can't catch rainwater. Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's crazy.
They want your money.
Yep. You can't live off the grid. You can't own a house defined as they call a house without it being connected to the grid.
Yep. They started that a while ago too. As a matter of fact, down here in Florida, there was it was a couple of years ago, but there was a lady who had diabetes and something else, and her doctor was telling her she's not getting any better. So she decided that, you know what, let me try something different. And she turned her front yard into a garden.
I
And
saw that. I think.
she started eating it in the whole 9 yards. And she went back to her doctor, and she was, I mean, in 6 months she was getting better.
That's why.
Yep.
And then neighbors in the community got upset because it wasn't beautifying for the neighborhood.
Oh God.
And you actually got pictures of police officers showing up at her house, ripping up her produce and throwing it in the street.
See, people have to understand this is why men have to be men, because we're the last vestige of hope against an oppressive government.
Yep.
See, women are choosing the government, and I'm not bringing them up. I'm just telling in retrospect, they're choosing the government over us, but it's men and it's us doing what we know is right that keeps this oppressive government at bay. And now that more men are compromised, what's happening? The government is increasing their reach.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? This makes me think of the story that Zero was telling, about the cul-de-sac huddle.
Yeah.
So he was talking about, an older guy, who was talking about the lawn, and he keeps his lawn so immaculate, the lines and everything. So it was probably some old dude that even told about that woman having that dog, having her garden out there in the front yard and all that. So
yeah, because men understand. See, men have to understand that true logic comes from the Most High. It comes from God, because we are trying to uphold doing things the right way. That's the whole point, is that we are the stewards of doing things the right way, the functional, logical way, which comes from the logical design of God's creation. That's what we uphold. We were given dominion to do that.
Yep.
And see, now we're giving them our dominion to be distracted by females and silly things, and we're not focusing on that which we were created to do. And we're paying the price for it. This is why we're right. We shouldn't be thinking about females at all.
No, not at all.
Let them suffer.
Well, it's not even so much about it. I mean, it's also about letting them suffer, consequences of your action. But as I've said many a times before, if you want to play the game, then you need to understand how the game works. You don't have to chase them. If you do what you're supposed to do and you got yourself on point just for yourself, they will come to you. They have built-in radar for that.
Yeah, and this system will fail them, just like it is now. It's failing them, but now they're burnt. They're burnt because the legal infrastructure is just not conducive for men.
No,
it's just not. So we can't even help them if we wanted to.
And it's gonna get worse because like the CEO of Ecto City, he's the second dude in England now who's had a wife he divorced 20, 30 years prior come back and get more of his money.
Wow.
And then on top of that, what happened recently in Canada should really, if nothing scares you, then this should scare you, because it has nothing to do with you being married. There was a guy, he had money. He had divorced. He had 2 kids. He was dating a single mother who had 3 kids. They dated for 14 years. He was well off, very well to do. They lived in separate residences. They had no shared accounts, nothing. And he decided he wanted to break up with her, and he asked her to marry. He had asked her to marry her, and he put down a contract for a prenup, and she said no. And they dated for a couple of years more after that. So I guess he figured it wasn't going to end the marriage, so he's going to go a different direction. So he broke up with her. She took him to court for spousal support and won.
Wow.
Mind you, think about what I'm saying here. They never lived together. They have no shared accounts, nothing.
That's crazy.
She got spousal support. And then when the records came down to find out how that was done, the judge made a claim. Now, this is where it gets real crazy. They spent part of a summer together on vacation, and they came down here to Florida for 2 weeks for a winter vacation. The judge alluded that constitutes living together.
What?
I'm not lying. I'll send you the article in your email. I'm not lying, dude.
Okay. But you know what? It makes sense.
Not only do I have the article, but Savage did a video on it a couple of days ago.
Well, it makes sense because people have already been talking about this bachelor tax and all this other stuff, that because men are buying out of this illogical legal system, that men, to protect themselves are just not, they're just not dealing with women in legal contracts. They're just not. They're not cohabitating. They're not getting married. They're not having children. Yep. So because the government has an agenda, when we saw the alternative lifestyle people getting all these legal rights, that was the first sign that the agenda is for government, because both females and alternative lifestyle logical people depend on government.
Yeah. Space Cowboy put up something great. A brother named Moses West made an atmospheric water generator. He put the link back in the chat again. He said he saw it doing research on the Flint water crisis.
Yeah.
Good information.
Yeah, and he actually started a foundation. I'm trying to get it now so I can put it in.
Okay. We have the resident Hank McCoy here on the on the channel. What's good, Sigmund Jones? Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
What's good, man? What's good,
fellas?
Dr. McCoy, how are you?
I am not officially a doctor. I'm just me. I just be in the shadows and everything, and just observe and make notes, mental notes.
I have no recollection of those events. Hello, Dr. McCoy. How are
you? Nice. Well, shalom to everybody. But no, this was a very good topic that graciously Eisen sent me the link, and I had another obligation I was doing earlier today, so want to make sure I had time to kind of drop in on this, because I think it is important that for a lot of men, especially men that are just now kind of waking up to the realities of their surroundings, they certainly need to have a foundation that is internal only. A lot of young guys coming up, unfortunately, they feel that certain materials or certain people, if they get a hold of them, gives them some sort of validation. And validation, especially from the outside, is a very shaky foundation. If you, scripture talks about if you build your house upon the sand, everybody knows that sand is very unstable. And if you kind of look at like the Sahara Desert, sand is also something that doesn't stay in one place at one time, whereas mountains and rocks, unless over time, as far as erosion from the environment, they always remain in place. Whereas sand, wherever the wind blows, whatever the wind blows, that's where it goes. So the same applies to foundation. If a man is able to build his foundation internally, that's unshakable. That will remain with him for the rest of his living days. But if he bases existence and external factors on the outside, as easy as it's given to him, it's also easy to take it away from him.
Well said.
Yeah, good.
Yep. That's it. That's it.
That's why I like Sigma on the panel. Hank McCoy is gonna come through with some great bit of gems that he's gonna drop.
No, I just like to come through and just drop a few little nuggets and marbles here and there, just to test the water, see what everybody's mindset is at.
Right.
I'm gonna see. You gonna make me put you in that same category I put Zero in. And I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's good because now I'm gonna have to do you like I do Zero every time you come up. Oh, here come that motherfucker with all the damn logic. I can't stand this nigga.
Honestly, though, I'm kind of one where I just like to just vibe with the conversations that be. So I'm not one to like really try to lead the conversations, but I'm also one where if you want to go down that rabbit hole, just make sure you got a shovel, because we're going to go much deeper than what you think we're going to go to. So that's my mentality.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? He couldn't just let it be. I'm yanking your chain, man. I'm yanking your chain. I do that to Zero all the time.
Hey,
here come this motherfucker with all the logic and making sense and shit. Ain't nobody trying to have that kind of conversation.
No, they're really not though. That's the problem. They're really not. That's the problem.
I know. I'm just messing with them. That's how I roll.
But that's the thing.
It just got done over there, so that's why it's loading up now.
I see.
But see, my thing is, I always believe in the scripture back this up too. Iron sharpens iron. There's not many men, especially men on this panel and others in other circles, where I can literally have these type of conversations and we can go much deeper than just the surface level. And this is why sometimes when I hear some guys on panels talk about, oh, I need a woman that I can have an intellectual conversation with,
Oh my
I
God.
kind of cringe because I, I look at that and says, so you're not comfortable having deep conversations with other men.
To
That's
build.
how you
Exactly.
that's how you build your intellect. And that's how, like, I'll be the first to tell anybody, like, I don't know everything. And when I listen to other logics and reasonings from other men, that's how I'm able to build up my knowledge base. So that way, if there's something that I come to understand and realize, I could just come back to those same circle of men and share that same knowledge with them, and they get a deeper understanding. That's not
Well,
something you can develop with women.
you know
Women,
the issue.
oh, go
No,
ahead.
no, I was just gonna say the issue is, see, they want to live in this imaginary world where you could just feel like you're something without bearing the results and outcome of actually being it.
Exactly. Exactly. And so for me, like, a woman serves her purpose for a different aspect that she's good at. Intellect, my honest opinion, is not that avenue for me. If I want to have a deeper understanding and a deeper knowledge base, I have to seek other men that share those similar mindsets because I know for a fact they can go deeper down the rabbit hole than any female would. I'm, some would say that sounds sexist and everything, but it's the honest truth.
Yeah.
Look
No,
at
it's the
all the
truth.
philosophers.
It's
Look at
not
all of the.
it's
Oh,
not a,
go ahead.
it's not a sexist thing. It's a fear thing.
Yeah,
No,
but
seriously, for the most part, as men, we're taught at a young age to challenge ourselves, to push the borders. So we've
Hmm.
learned to deal with fear and overcoming it to achieve whatever it is we want to do far better than they were ever taught. So that's why we have that.
Well,
exactly, and even up with just one moment,
go
Isaac,
ahead. Go ahead.
and look at it from a perspective. You can go either biblically or secular. If you look at the Bible, a lot of your great prophets, those who have really expanded upon the knowledge of the book, have all been men. And then if you go outside of the Bible and say, okay, let's look at the great philosophers like Plato and
Aristotle.
Socrates.
Aristotle. These are
Socrates.
all men. This is how knowledge on the world was able to expand. And so I think this is where people just need to come to terms and understand. Like, I'm not one that's going to be like, okay, we need to get females involved because, so to speak, well, we want to hear their conversations too and whatnot. No, 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 no. There's a time and place for everything. There are certain conversations that I can have with my girl, and it'll be just fine. But even she knows that if I want to have a deeper intellectual conversation, there's guys that I connect with that helps me with that type of intellect, and
Well,
she's okay. Oh, go ahead.
it has to be because it goes back to something I said once before. A turtle can't teach a bird how to fly. You
Right.
understand?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we're the birds. You see what I'm saying? So that again, to me, that's a natural thing. Like is going to attract like. You don't go to a butcher to fix your car. You don't go to a mechanic to cut your meat. You understand what I'm saying? And again, it's not a personal thing. It's not even an attack on them as a gender. It's the nature of things. There's no way you can get an understanding of being a man, how to be a man, what to do as a man from a woman. You just can't. And the same thing works in reverse. We can't explain to them what it is to be a woman, really.
And we don't want to.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing. We don't want to. They want to, but we don't. For us, it's more important to what Sigma was saying. We have to find men of like-mindedness, men that show not necessarily prosperity, but productivity,
Yeah.
progression, receipts. Whatever term we're using nowadays. That's what becomes important, and it should be all encompassing. To
Well,
be honest with you.
the thing is, what's important? It's important for them to listen in and hear for one aspect, so they can learn what they need to learn to keep the other women in check, which is, that's their role. We're
Yep.
supposed to keep the men and the boys in check, while they're supposed to keep the women and the girls in check.
That's correct. You and I talked about that on your very first stream ever. That's
That's
one
in
of the
Titus.
first. That's one of the first things we talked about. That their job is to hold themselves in line, and it's our jobs to hold ourselves in line. Absolutely,
But
absolutely.
you got to understand that the break in that chain in order happened when the elder weak males started catering to the woman and allowed that woman to become the god complex of particularly the black household. And so now men growing up with mama basically being a god to them, a little g god to them. Now they need women to validate everything they're saying. They
Well,
need
see, I'm
that,
not. Well,
Exactly.
see. Okay, now I don't disagree with you. I don't, but
and
I
it's a
would put
problem.
I would put a little spin on that.
Hmm.
Only in the sense that it would first have you would first have to acknowledge that we as men had any power to begin with. It's like I told Private Foster one time on a stream when he was up there about black men need to regain their patriarchy. Look, we've been in this country for over 400 years. We've never been a patriarchy.
Well, you're right,
I
and
mean,
I,
I
and
mean,
I,
I
and
mean,
I
I
will
mean,
expound.
we never have. So,
And I will expound on what you're saying. Basically, patriarchy coming from a men who haven't had patriarchy comes from the Most High. It comes from that's the whole idea. Well, particularly for the Bible believing folks, why we identify God as a father, not to attribute humanity to him, but the
right.
position of authority and leadership from where it comes.
Right, and I don't disagree, but I was talking more in general terms of those who claim
Yeah.
they're following scripture and they're not, or those who don't believe in it at all. I
Oh,
was
you're absolutely
talking from
right.
I
You're
was talking
absolutely
from
right,
that.
though.
And
Well,
I
There-
want
actually,
to.
oh, go ahead, Stephen.
Well, I just want to touch on this real quick because actually, Isaac, this will kind of be a little precept to the stream me and you are planning to do later on down the road.
Okay.
You look at society, the youth is supposed to exceed the previous generation.
Yes.
So the youth in some form or fashion has to be stronger in either physically or mentally than the previous generation. When you look at black society, it's the opposite. The generation going forward, the youth, is actually getting weaker and weaker. And you can tell by that by looking at how they have elevated the emotional side of their society rather than the logic and physique side. And what I'm getting at that is you have a lot of young men who are so directionless and have no sense of self-esteem that essentially they have reverted to an animal-like state when it comes to women, when it comes to other communities, when it comes to intellect. It's stuff that they're no longer able to comprehend. And that's a telltale sign that the previous generation is now passing on genetics that are tainted. And so what I'm getting at that is not only from an individual standpoint, but from a society standpoint, the whole purpose of communities and families is to pass on stronger intellect and stronger genes to the next generation to keep that community going. Otherwise, if it's getting weaker and weaker, that society have already gone into degeneracy and dysfunction. And I just want to throw it out there because Isaac, we definitely are planning to
Yes.
do a conversation about this on another stream.
Yes. And it fits in so perfectly too, because it goes to show that the older generation, this is what they want. They don't want the younger one to be better than them, uh,
Yeah.
by any means, which goes exactly against what we're talking about, what we're going to be talking about later on.
Yeah,
They
Isaac,
don't want them to be better. Go
can I
ahead.
add on to what you just said? It's funny that you will have, you will have generations, you have fathers who have very dysfunctional marriages. They've been divorced, it cost them a lot, and they will not warn their sons. They will still advocate for their sons to go right into the same fire that they went into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting on that too, because as crazy as it sounds, I've actually heard more mothers calling in to male talk shows asking how to protect their sons. Um, and and and
Which
and
is a
and, and,
very
and, and
sad, very sad sign.
well,
Very.
it is, but it's not, because here's the thing. On the one hand, it's sad because the mothers will call. I mean, everything from Tom Lycos, Bill Burr, all the way down. Women are actually calling in asking how to save their boys from what's going on. But here's the thing: it's a two-edged sword, because on the one hand, you could be happy somebody's looking out for them, but on the other hand, you got to understand what the motivating factor is for a woman at any given time. She might be trying to save her son, but she's only trying to save her son for her benefit. Because if that son gets attached to a woman, that woman's going to take the son away from the mother, who she's counting on to be her retirement plan. Because
Yeah.
let's be real, women don't make retirement plans; they just don't.
Well,
Or rather, let me
no, they
take that.
do.
Let me
They
take that.
do.
That's what I say. Let me catch myself. Or as Eisen would say, they have sponsorships.
Well, I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
the thing. They make a retirement plan. It's just that you are the retirement plan.
Right. So from my point of view, yeah, it's kind of cool to hear mothers call in, but again, gotta always understand what that underlying motivation and factor is, and
It's still corrupt.
for them, it's always going to be corrupt, because it's always going to come back to them.
Well,
Because if you listen to, see, the key is to listen to the wording. They don't call, when they call in, they don't go everything they use is save my son, how to keep my son with me, how to make sure my son does, because that's really what it comes down to for them. Because if they're a single mother, never had a man, can't keep a man, whatever it may be, that boy becomes the replacement husband. I've said it, Zero said it, Eisen said it, many of people have said it.
And
Husband
it's true.
sons. They become husband sons. You see them all on Instagram, hugging up on them, kissing them, talking about my man, my boo. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
I think the interesting thing in noticing what you said was they'll go on there asking to teach them how to protect their sons.
Exactly.
First off, the first thing I notice is the arrogance in that statement, in that question, for you to step outside of what your natural biological role is.
Mm-hmm.
that's the first thing. So I already know off the top, it's already going down going down the wrong way. And to Jerome's point, yes, they are looking for you to become their Russell Wilson. Yes, you are right.
Yeah,
that is the retirement plan.
Yeah, because look, you guys know I'm that guy. The first thing I would have said to her is like, okay, well, why is he here to ask? Why is he not here asking? Why are you? Because that's me. Because I'm not going to teach women my skill set. I'm just not. So if he's not, in other words, help me help you. If he's not even interested enough to come on my show to ask me what's going on and how to help him, then apparently it's not important enough for him that he's got to send his mama, or you doing it without, whatever it is. You're not the person supposed to be here for that.
And to kind of highlight on what Lawrence talked about, some time ago, probably in my early 20s, I went back to volunteer a bit for my high school's football team as a coach. And it was one thing I noticed, and it's one of the reasons why to this day I have no interest in becoming some sort of like coach or mentor and whatnot. Now, the team at the time was mostly made up, obviously, of young black boys, but there were also some white boys that were part of the team too. And particularly, a good portion of those white boys were actually part of my offensive line that I would coach with. And this is one thing that I definitely have come to terms with the fact that the young white boys, even if they come from a background where it was, somewhat dysfunction, their father could be some hillbilly or some alcoholic and everything, and may have a thing or two to say about blacks and whatnot. That's a different conversation. But I noticed that those white boys, even if they have to deal with a black authority, they have no problem taking instructions from another race of men because it has been ingrained in them from a very young age to respect male authority. Even if they don't think too highly of other ethnicity or groups, if somebody is of your authority, they learn to respect them. I can always, from my experience, I can always get things done with the white boys because they took instructions, they did not question as far as what I was teaching them, and they actually applied it and thrived. It was the young black boys that always, and I mean always, gave me trouble. And the reason being is because starting from the home, they had no respect for black male authority. And so when they're seeing their mothers, as you pointed out, Lawrence, how she feels that she could do everything by herself, that any man that comes into her life has to obey what she says, has to do what she wants them to do. It's passed down on to the boys where I don't need to pay attention to you. You may be older than me, you may have better experience and whatnot, but I don't have respect for you because my mother has no respect for black males. And again, it just highlights the fact that if you're progressing on how society moves on based on how the youth is progressing, black society is most certainly going backwards.
Yeah.
That cannot be denied.
I agree.
Yeah. And I'm gonna make a point here and to then we'll get away from the Pudo female talk. The other thing is too, just to show how bad it is to the point bringing up, son, husband, and I mean when you look at all these athletes and everything they do, these black athletes, only thing they do, they always bring up about how they wouldn't be where they are without their mom.
Yes.
Never a coach, another male figurehead or mentor, never a stepfather even. It's always her. And just to show you how bad it is, whenever you had during that championship game at Golden State and they beat Cleveland, and Wanda Durant grabbed Kevin Durant by his doggone beard and kissed him on the lips. It just goes to show you how fucked up the state of the culture is.
And Kevin Durant is a perfect example of what you're talking about. Here's a man that, as far as an athlete, nobody can deny he's one of the best athletes in the game of basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody can deny that. Has the genetics, has the skills and everything. But mentally, as I don't know how old he is right now. He's got to be somewhere in his 30s. But mentally, his mindset is that of a child. When you look at some of the conversations he has with people who give him constructive criticism, we're just talking about, something that he can work on, something that he can develop going on. This man gets so emotional, and literally you can watch him have a mental breakdown when he's talking to his critics, that it's like no mature man in their right mind, even if you don't agree with conversations, you still have that ability to take constructive criticism, see if it applies to you, and if it does, you work with it, and you take it in stride. But when you're having such an emotional breakdown to where you give short answers, you don't look the person in the eye, you get all emotional when you're around females and everything. That is a slow progression of men going backwards.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, and it's all government agenda. Adversity is the best stimulus for men when they have fathers around, when there's a male-led society. Adversity will just inspire men to be more competitive, to overcome, through all the things. But when you take adversity in a household that's ran as a woman in the head, then that's when adversity becomes, you're a victim. And I mean, there are always going to be exceptions. Like I'm an exception. I came from adversity, and not necessarily having. Well, I can see my grandfather that even though he was a true General Warden type of grandfather, but that was good. That's what I needed through my adversity. I didn't need somebody to coddle me. I didn't need somebody to say it's somebody else's fault. I need somebody to tell me what you do is going to determine where your life goes.
Mhm.
I need somebody to tell me that in spite of the circumstance I was born into, in spite of me not having the things I needed somebody to tell me this is the hand you were dealt. What you do with your life is what it will become. That's what boys need to hear. They don't need to be coddled. They don't need somebody to say it's the white man's fault. They don't need somebody to say, in anything, but other than it's what you do that matters with your
Yes.
life. It's how you react to your unique circumstance and situation that matters.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
and for a lot of us, again, not having a father figure around, yo, man, our grandfathers saved us. They truly did. Because, like I said, I had my grandfather up to a time, and like I said, when he passed away, that's when all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
I mean, all hell broke loose. The men stopped trying. The women just went batshit crazy, and I held on and I maintained as best I could everything he taught me for the amount of time I had. And I will say this with no shame: if it wasn't for those things, I wouldn't have survived long enough to 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 get adopted, to find a place where I could grow, I could become something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even with my mom, my adopted mother, I can't tell you how many years she would sit and she would literally literally have conversations with me to make sure that he stays fresh in my head, that I always remember things he taught me, and not just her, my adopted father too. You know, like he would take me out and we go do stuff, and he'd ask me, talk about my grandfather, yada yada. What makes you think he told you this? What makes you think he told you that? Yada yada yada. They always made sure it stayed fresh in my head because they knew what he taught me was important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, like with my dad, he was older, so there wasn't any, there was no putting sugar on anything.
Yeah, yeah,
As
that's how my
far as
grandfather
yeah,
was. Yeah.
he was older, so it's like I've got to give you all this information, as salty as it is. I got to give it to you right now and as real as it is, because there's not going to be time for me to go through and explain any of it.
Hmm.
There's not going to be time for you to kind of get it, so I've got to give it to you as cold, as untasteful as it is. I got to give it to you the way it is. That way you can catch it early and learn for yourself. Um, so I didn't get that sweetening up of anything. I got it, as raw and as bitter as it was. And I think that that helped, as far as with my own self development.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandfather gave it just as raw. I mean, it is what it is, and at the risk, at the risk of sounding all emotional, I must confess that the day he left this world, it hasn't been as bright for me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Same here.
Yeah,
You know.
I mentioned this over on MOT's channel how my paternal grandfather, he passed away these 3 years before I was born. So his brother, which would be my granduncle, he kind of took in the role of that grandfather figure for me. And I can honestly say that if there was anybody who really kind of gave me some red pill knowledge one could say at a very young age, it was him, due to the fact that, he fought in World War One. He fought in the Pacific War, which for many that would could say is uh, uh, the bloodiest theater within the whole World War diaspora. And he would tell stories about how there were battles he'd been in where, the Japanese are flying their planes at him and, trying to bomb his ships and everything. And he would tell you, it's like, look, them Japs wasn't trying to bomb us because, so to speak, we were black and everything. No, they were bombing us because they saw each and every one of us as Americans. And he was like, that taught me right then and there. There's more to life than just black and white. There's issues that, as a man, you have to see beyond skin color. And it was those conversations and those stories that he shared with me that it's like, yes, I'm definitely an ebony man. I wake up in the morning, I still have the same skin color and everything, but I don't base my reality just based on skin color. First and foremost, when you're in your mother's womb, you're born with a swinging dick. So you're going to be a man once you're born, no matter what's your skin color. And so my grandfather was taught me the importance of, or not grandfather, my granduncle taught me the importance of, you need to be a man first. Everything else in life is superficial. All of the dramas and everything that comes through, don't just look at it from a perspective of, oh, they only treat me because I look like this or I look like that. No, you develop your own foundation, pretty much highlighting the title of the stream. You develop your own foundation within yourself. You find your purpose of what you're wanting to be in this life. And then everything else just comes secondary. And to me, it was those teachings. And, just highlight what Lawrence Guy said. When my granduncle passed away, it was just kind of like a part of me died with him too.
My bad. Zero ain't shit.
I saw that.
He got jokes. But I want to point out something that Omega Dress put in the chat. It's very important, I think, to do. He says, I remember my uncle telling me that part of you will conflict with your manhood, for you were raised with your mother, and I have to be on you hardcore because of it.
check out his follow-up.
I'm going to it.
Yeah, his follow-up is
Even my mom once said, no, if I can hold a pillow over your face as a baby, so how cruel a woman can be. Dang. Well, yes.
Yep.
That's a powerful bit of information there.
And I would add, this is what men need to understand. We don't live in the legal environment. The culture is out of order. It's totally illogical. So we have to rethink how we look at, traditional values and like traditional values in terms of relating to women. But the things about that is because most men, they only working for women. They only living for women. Everything they doing, even in productivity, is too much around women instead of just keeping society functional and logical. Because we are the structure of society. When we go, it's completely gone. When the last vestige of real, men who actually focus on keeping society functional and keeping what little logic there is left go, it's over. Because we see the results of it now. So we have to realize that we cannot engage the way. I mean, I tell dudes all the time, how many divorces, how many child support issues, how many, because it's different for men who were at least, who were in this situation 30 years ago. But for those who are trying to get, married now, for those who are trying to have children now, and they can't see and they can't understand the legal system and they can't understand basic things, it's almost like you're asking to be punished. It's almost like men cannot feel sorry for you now. We just can't. We have to let you suffer because you're ignoring all the evidence. You're ignoring the objective reality of the circumstance that as a man you're placed in. You're ignoring everything.
Well, let me say this, and I'm not trying to be cruel, Hulk. I'm not. I'm just gonna say this. You're gonna have to come to terms with the same thing Eisen had to explain to me. Zero, new, MOT, the list goes on. You're expecting niggas to read. You're expecting them to put in the work. You're expecting them to be logical as opposed to their natural state of being emotional.
Yeah, you're right.
And the fact of the matter is they're not going to do it. They're just not. They're just not. And that was one of the things about being in this space that the Eisen and everybody else I just named had. It took a minute. And I still have issues with it on occasion. Eisen will testify to that. But it's one of those situations where it's a little painful because deep inside, regardless of whatever we say about the community, we do want everybody to make it. We honestly do.
Nah,
we don't. No, I mean, only.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, only in the sense of not having somebody go through pain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't necessarily want them to come along with us, but at the same time, we're men. We're empathetic to the pain of other men, whether we agree with them or not. That in that respect is what I'm talking about. But the fact of the matter is that they are going to be who they are. And that's why I said before, they're bitches with dicks. You have to put them in the same category as women. You must let them suffer the consequences. You must let it all burn down. And then you just stand there. And if you're lucky, you have a big tub of popcorn to watch it. That's about as good as it's going to get.
And you know, this is one of the reasons why I've been consistent with my message that SYSBM is not for every brother. And I consistently say that because if I was to ask a guy, okay, start off doing MGTOW, and when you go about being MGTOW, I want you to go a whole year without dealing with women. Or I want you to go at least 6 months without being with a woman. We all know for a fact. I know the three of you guys on here, you could do that in your sleep. No problem.
Well, we talked about it before you came up, actually.
Wow. But yeah, I know for a fact that the three of you guys on here, you could do that in your sleep because your foundation is not built on external factors. Your foundation is within. So you can go years without having to be with a woman or deal with a woman. But the average Negro, I'm telling you right now, you ask him to go just 6 months. Within half that time, not only would he have relapse, but he would have relapse on multiple times that he wouldn't be able to function. And so that's why personally I don't have the belief that we can save everybody or we can save all these men.
Oh, no, I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because unfortunately, they just don't have that mental discipline,
fortitude.
The fortitude and the willingness to be able to go without. I mean, we joke about it, but it's the truth. You ask this Negro to walk away from pussy, it's like giving him kryptonite. Or giving garlic to a vampire. He wouldn't know what to do with himself.
Well, telling him not to breathe.
That's what you said earlier. Because all kidding aside, not before you came up, myself, Eisen, and MOT literally had that same conversation. We literally had that same conversation. Got to remove yourself from the field, man. You got to step back. you got to take it all in. But like Eisen said, man, you're asking them not to breathe. And it's one of those things where, and I'm not sure if it applies across the board. So I'm just speaking in general. You got to become sick and tired of being sick and tired. See, because like I said, for me growing up, pussy was never a big deal to me anyway. Like I said, I didn't even lose my virginity till I was 19. And as I've told Eisen before, if I had any regrets before I died, that would be it. I would have never done it. I would have never done it. That's where I'm at with this. And like I said, not everybody's going to follow the same path as myself or Eisen or U Sigma or Hulk or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, at the very least, you got to step back, and they will not do that.
Yeah.
They just won't. They won't step back. They won't pay attention to what's going on around them. They won't read. They won't study. They won't research. It does not matter. Their all-encompassing existence is nothing but to chase the pussy. Period.
But you know, it's funny you say that because these dudes and women had the same thing in common. They both value pussy. Like they value pussy the same way a woman values pussy. It's everything.
That's why I said they're bitches with dicks. That's why I said that.
And,
No, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I know we laugh at it, but it's real.
yeah. And
Because that's what it is. It's a female in a male body. That's literally what it is.
And I want to highlight a couple points that the fellas brought up in the chat. You know, Omega, men like fixing shit to even our own detriment. Yeah.
Very true.
Imperative. The evidence is telling us one thing, and society is telling men another. And then to highlight what y'all were talking about before, Jerome. Yeah, that's what Wacky and MOT had to get to my head. I had too much hope for these dudes.
Yep.
And Zero.
It's nice to know, Jerome, I wasn't by myself. I appreciate that.
I simply don't want to lose my freedom to another culture where I'm forced to wear a man dress and pray 50 times a day. And he's serious too, even though it's funny.
Yeah, he is. He's serious. He's very serious.
And also, to him saying, going MGTOW is like a fat bitch quitting donuts.
So what's
it's
the problem?
Pretty much like it for these dudes, yeah.
But what's the problem with that? A fat bitch should quit eating donuts. I mean, call it for what it is.
Hey, look.
See,
and here's the other point he made.
It's never going to happen.
Women overvalue pussy. No, they use it the same way you use a hammer to kill a roach. It's a tool.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a tool, but it's still an overvalued tool. I mean, it's no different than going to.
They don't overvalue it. Is what he's getting at.
Yeah. But see, I
think they do, but okay.
Yeah,
they don't.
But this is. Oh, go ahead, Isaac.
I was gonna say they don't have to overvalue it. Dudes do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get that. I absolutely get that. But what I'm saying is I think they overvalue it right from jump because they walk into a space automatically assuming a variety of things. Either A, every man wants them. B, they can get whatever they want using it. They overvalue it. To me, that's how I see it.
Okay, watch this.
Yeah.
Stereotypes exist for a reason. And why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're proven majorly true.
True. Yeah.
So if the thing is, if they're right for the majority, it's not wrong.
Yeah, and like Zero said, they weaponize it.
Yeah,
that's what these dudes don't realize. They are.
Yeah, that's true.
Pussy is literally being weaponized. It's like men walking into their own destruction, and they doing it with a smile on their face because it's like a moth to a flame.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't disagree with Zero or any of what you guys saying. I think it's both. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I think not, I mean, men overvalue it for sure. There's no question to that. But I think they do as well. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both.
And this is why I have the mindset of a eugenist. Because, and I'm speaking from the male perspective, the female perspective is much deeper than that. But at least from the male perspective, if you cannot wake up in the morning without pussy being on your mind, your genetics is tainted. And what I mean by that is it's okay for a man to have wants and needs in regards to the hierarchical needs in regards to sex and whatnot. You're supposed to have that from a biological standpoint. But when it has gotten so tainted to where you can't even function in your day-to-day life without some female telling you what to do, when to do, how to brush your teeth, how to clean yourself and whatnot, and how to, so to speak, be a man, your genetics has been tainted. And in my opinion, you should not be allowed to spread your genes to the next generation, because now we got to deal with hundreds of them that think the same way as you do.
But here's the problem. Those are the only ones that are breeding.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why, to me, the problem that's facing Black society has to go from a biological standpoint.
Yeah, agreed.
And
Because it happens even before that. I mean, you see it in just day-to-day situations, how brothers practically snap their necks just to turn around and look at a booty. You can't even walk down a block and control yourself. So you know what I mean? It's crazy.
and to point out what Marco is saying, just poke the holes as needed and do what you like the rest of the day. Um, get the baby bat out of your system and do what you like doing. So that means basically you niggas need to get some other hobbies.
Yeah.
Ooh, damn, hold on. But thoughts aren't genetic.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But
But you know
still,
what?
if I'll put it like this, there is studies that shows that some of your thinking and some of your how you see things in life can come genetically. So I will say there's some truth to it, and then there's others that can be expounded upon.
You're talking about genetic memory association.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So then if okay, so if you're talking genetic memory association, then you're also talking morphogenic fields.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. All right. I got you.
So some aspects, yeah, you can't fix it in regards to it is some stuff that's not genetic, which means that it has to be something the environment pulls through. But there are some genetic memory that is passed on to the next generation that could easily be fixed if you remove that genetic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's going too deep down the rabbit hole. Most
Well, I mean, no,
people ain't ready for that.
In the simplest terms, you're talking about the 100 monkey rule. You teach 100 monkeys one thing, and you've come to find out every monkey can do it now. So, that kind of thing.
And to highlight what Marco said, uh, being with hoes is like taking a shit. It's a biological function. Protect yourself and use condoms. Yes, dudes, use them, because the simple fact is, getting her pregnant is only the second worst thing that can happen to you.
Yes.
The first is ending up with a sick pee, as Marco would say.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's and not only that, man, but just from a common sense point of view, you got to wrap up anyway. Why would you be so callous as to waste the potential of your genetics on someone who doesn't deserve it? If for no other reason, wrap up with that, because the vast majority, damn well, whatever you're sliding into, you ain't trying to make it yours. You're just trying to get that quick feel of heaven from popping off in it. But you were never going to make her your main girl, your wife, whatever it is. So why would you give her genetic material to create your offspring on something that is just a jump off? That's stupid. Put a bag on.
And I think we need to go back and highlight what Marco said, because I said this about I said taking a piss, but he said taking the shit. But either way, the biological process of having sex is to that degree. Now, because men can't separate the idea of just having sex versus having a culture and legal system where men have legal authority and rulership, where a woman provides a service to you in that system. We don't have that. So basically, men are basically living their lives off of something that's equivalent to taking the shit. So it's true.
Yeah, and to the point he was making, there's no point in thinking or talking about toilet paper unless you're using it.
Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But there's still that aspect of and I really hate saying this. There's still that aspect of one human being to another human being. It's easy to dismiss an inanimate object. It's not so easy to dismiss an animate object that's always at you. A toilet, you can leave, walk out the room, close the door, don't have to think about it again. A bitch is going to nag the holy shit out of you every opportunity she gets.
If you let her stay around you.
Right, exactly. And even if you only tap her once, you got some who just get batshit crazy, man, and become stalkers. It is what it is.
And to highlight Marco's post and everything, you would think that nobody will be going around thinking about the toilet or toilet paper. But some of these Negroes on here, they will have an issue with you going to a different toilet than what they have in their so-called community. Make that make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As Marco said, that's the point of Uber. Makes the hole disappear.
Yeah, but look, hey, look.
And here you go. And no, that block button is too easy to hit. Yeah, he's right.
Nah, but I get what you said, Lawrence. I mean, sometimes, man, women are learning how to manipulate the legal system. Once they know where you live, they'll find a way to be throwing bricks through your windows and all this foolishness. And
Well, even before the legal system, I saw it growing up, man. You got a chick, you hit her once. She knows it was just supposed to be, a jump off in the whole 9 yards. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, she's standing out your house screaming your name.
Hey, Jerome, I put a good one in the chat. You should be thinking about toilet paper because if you run out, you shit out of luck.
No. You know why? You know why? Because before there was toilet paper, there were leaves.
And before that, you just simply go down to the river or water and go and just wash yourself.
That's correct.
That's funny. But it's still funny though.
It is funny. It is definitely funny. But like I said, and I'm pretty sure the same way I'm saying it as an older brother, there'll be an older brother than me who will probably say the same thing. The laws in place didn't do anything. They were already in effect. They just became official. That's all. All this was happening even before the laws came in. Mm-hmm. The only thing the laws and the internet has allowed is for you to do it in people's faces now, as opposed to behind closed doors. You can be brash with it. You can be arrogant with it. But other than that, it was always like that.
Here's the thing. Let me elaborate a little bit, because even if you go back to like King Ahab and Jezebel in the Bible, like women have been using their wiles against men to establish power for a long time. Now the men had to be weak and stupid and be led by their lust for it to work. So and that's the same thing that's happening today. It's like even like men have to realize the legal system is really for the lawless. When you're disciplined and you're focused, and I mean this loosely because we still have to pay taxes. Women can still have false allegations, but unless you're like men who just abstaining and avoiding, but women just have such a superiority now legally, until there has to be some kind of response from men just to say, okay, I need to protect myself. I need to maintain as much as my personal sovereignty over my life to control it as possible. And I know that that's where we at right now, because nobody's on here is trying to promote men. They say, oh man, you ain't nothing without a woman. You ain't, where your woman at? Where this? Like, look, however a man chooses to deal with a woman, even if he deals with her at all, is cool. The agreement that we have is that the priority should be the focus of men, what we're doing with our lives. How can we build network together? How can we focus on the issues that, that can, protect us in this environment and stuff like that. That's where our focus is.
Well, yeah. But as far as it goes for what Grande and Nu just got finished saying, that wasn't me. I was talking about dudes I knew growing up. Because and again, that goes back to what I've said many a times about my cousin and his friends. I learned by watching them. So whatever. I'm dead serious.
I'm laughing because that's smart.
Yeah, because that's one thing I learned real quick. Yo, whoever I'm dealing with, I'll know where she lives, but she never knows where I live. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Because I saw that they get batshit crazy. Yeah, I think I had one time. It was a model I was dating from the Netherlands. And she just showed up on my doorstep. I don't even know how she figured out where the hell I was. But when she showed up, I was already at the house with another female. So I opened the door, the other female standing right there. And she looked at me like I was batshit crazy. I'm like, what can I do for you? she's like, oh, well, I just stopped by. I didn't invite you here. I don't even know how you found this. Is that your girlfriend? That's none of your business. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's how you got to treat them. When they step out of line, you don't reward them by giving them information or whatever it is. You just don't reward bad behavior. But like I said, I learned it from watching what happened with all them. I saw women cut their tires. I've watched them throw bricks through the house. I watched them stand outside screaming their names for an hour at 2 a.m. I've seen all kinds of crazy shit with them, and I'm like, nope, will not be that dude.
I got Marco's got a point. About men not taking accountability for getting the power, and then hoes just showing up or throwing bricks. They don't show up and just throw bricks. It's a build up made and created by the man.
He's right. He's dead ass right. He's dead ass right. There's no bullshitting around that. He's dead ass right.
That is true.
Because like the saying goes, they can only do what you let them.
Yep. Yeah. And the situation that you create in them.
Yep.
Uh-oh. No. A chick only does it when she knows you ain't going to fuck back on her ass. Hoes know why.
I can't argue with that either.
Well, it goes back, if these Negroes feel like they just can't live without women or pussy, something's wrong. Something's deadly wrong, because you shouldn't be giving your self-esteem and any sense of self-worth to another person, let alone a woman. So like Marco says, if a woman's coming to your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, slashing your cars and throwing bricks at your window, it's because you gave validation of yourself to her. That's a buildup. And that's something wrong with that mindset.
Yeah. And two things real quick. The first one is Marco. The other one is Wadner. The first one with Marco, building on what he said, he's about men giving women the ability to do that. Yes, I agree. And I would also add to the fact that it may very well be that having men who are so wrapped in emotions, they get a high off that shit. They've learned to put themselves in emotional positions and shit just for the sake of it, like women do. Some of them actually get their rocks off on that. And going back to Wadner said to Black Curls about put yourself in dangerous situations, better to have them come to your spot so you can have cameras on. That might be true nowadays, but I got to be honest with you, brother. Even in those situations, other men have still gotten in trouble, even though they've had cameras for proof. They actually have still gotten into problems and jail time and all that.
And that's why, honestly, my belief, as far as here in America, Western society, just don't deal with them at all. Like,
that's what I do.
If you could just go about your business and all without having to deal with them outside of work, that would be the optimal solution. Because no matter what, like Lawrence pointed out, whether you go to her place or she goes to your place, all she has to say is that R word and you're in trouble.
That's all it takes. And like I said, I've seen cases where dudes have literally come in with camera film from their house. As a matter of fact, the last one I saw, the dude actually he actually got in trouble because he filmed it. He literally got in trouble because the argument was like, yo, as you can see in this film, I had consent. It was agreeable, yada yada yada. And the judge turned around, since they didn't have anything else on him, started hauling ass on him about you filmed in your house without her permission and you got it on camera, yada yada yada. And he got in trouble for that. And it's ridiculous because
I work at a law firm, so I can relate to
so you know what I'm talking about.
It's a legal thing called torts. Torts. The law is always made to be twisted. That's why people have to understand how the law works. It's not really a cut and dry, like, proving innocent people innocent and guilty. No, the law can make innocent people look guilty and guilty people look innocent.
Yep.
So, once you understand that, you really see what kind of mess you can get yourself into. So they have all kinds of ways, and not just the fact that they're creating new laws. They're creating new laws every day. They're amending old ones. There's exceptions to the rules. There are hidden clauses, hidden things in there that you have to really do research.
Yeah.
That mainly people who are in the legal field have knowledge of, the average public doesn't know about.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, real quick, because Wadner's saying something. I gotta address this, man. Wadner, that's not gonna work, bro. And here's why. First of all, consent forms mean nothing. They're about as helpful and worthwhile as a prenup. because all she has to do is say it was signed under duress. That's number one.
And,
the second thing is that what you're talking about, take her to a hotel. Again, I was just meeting him there for business and he raped me. It's just that simple, man. I mean, and they're going to take their word on it. It's just going to be that simple.
And to highlight that what Hulk just explained, and even you, Lawrence, all these laws are constantly being changed, and even these addendums that are not in law, but they could just throw them out in a whim just because they feel like it. And you still want to play Russian roulette with these type of women? Mm-mm.
But again, that goes back to what we said earlier. You're not paying attention to what's going on. You're not looking at what's happening. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not reading. You're not doing what you're supposed to.
And to highlight the point Marco made, like he says, it's all on the man or the lack thereof.
Yes.
I'm gonna say it's the latter.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me, Wadner, and anybody else out there listening. Please don't misunderstand me. If you guys are out there doing your thing, then do your thing. Be safe. That's all I'm asking for. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of that, I just don't interact at all. I don't take the risk. And like I said, that's a personal choice on my end. No more, no less.
And to the point that Zero brought up, she doesn't have to say it was signed under duress. It's automatically assumed
under the Duluth model. That's correct. That is correct. That is correct. And as a matter of fact, if any of you guys remember, I had said that if you want to keep your mind straight to understand just how bad it is, sign up for True Story Nation. Go sign up on his channel because he does stories all the time, and he's got attorneys from Texas who actually share their stories about how all that's breaking down.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's how I maintain my mental state on how to deal with this. Because every single day, like clockwork, there's another story to remind me this is not a game. There's another story to remind me I can't take that chance or that risk. I just can't. Right. And like I said, I'm not taking away from anybody else out there who is or doing what they're doing. Marco, New, Zero, whoever, I don't care. You guys do what you got to do. It's just, again, for myself, from what I've seen, I cannot do it. I can't.
Yeah, I've checked out True Story before too. Yeah,
especially not after the story I told earlier about what happened in Canada.
Yeah.
Because now you can be on the hook just for dating a chick.
Yeah.
And when I say, and by the way, I didn't tell you how it turned out. She won. A girlfriend. She won. She gets spousal support of $53,077 a month. And she gets it for 10 years. Now, if you do your basic math calculation real quick, that means in 10 years, she would have made slightly over $6 million for dating somebody. They never lived together, had separate houses. They had their own kids, no kids together. They didn't have any shared bank accounts or nothing. And like I said earlier, the judge decided that she can get spousal support because they went on vacation for a summer. Therefore, they lived in a house during that summer vacation. That's how she won.
Well, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say this to quote what the short nigga would say. Oh well.
Yeah, exactly.
My man, go ahead. Sit with you.
No. I just like Lawrence says, hearing stories like that just reaffirms in my mind. Nope. As long as I'm on American soil or Western soil, I'm just monk mode, MGTOW, whatever. I just outside of work. I just don't deal with women. And I purposely go out of my way to not go to any functions where those women will be there in large numbers. That's why I have no interest in clubs. I have no interest in bars. Any type of avenue where I know there's going to be a large number of women there, I just don't bother to go. Because you literally, it is a war zone. Even if you're not purposely trying to participate, you literally have to look and see where all the mines are laid out, because you just never know if you accidentally step on one of those mines and there goes your leg.
Well,
there goes your arm.
Well, even if you're not participating, you're going to be dragged into it. Prime example would be the guy who literally had to pay thousands of dollars for legal fees to stay out of jail because he helped a woman change her tire, and then she claimed he assaulted her. If it wasn't for the fact of a camera at a gas station a little bit away, he would have gone to jail. Because they were going to put him in jail. They were.
Hey, New Wild, he said, "What? You leaving pussy on the table?"
Yeah.
I'll put it like this. I can walk away, in the words of David Carroll, you give me a box of cigars and a naked woman on the bed. I don't even smoke, but I'm taking the cigars and leaving.
Or grab any country song you want to. She took my house, she took my car, she took my dog. Damn, I miss that dog. So I mean, for real, it's got to be. And again, it's not trying to put brothers down. It's not. It's just that you got to understand that whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, they are the enemy. Not because we chose to, but because they did. They chose to be the enemy. They chose to label us as certain things and put us in certain categories and all that good stuff. So, like I said before, they've told us everything we need to know. So conversations about them or worrying about them or chasing after them is null and void now.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's null and void. What else could be said that hasn't already been said by either us or them? That's why the conversation about building your foundation, being introspective, growing your own food, taking care of your health. That's why I want to talk about that, because everything else is irrelevant now. I mean, it is. I mean, the game's over. I mean, the war is over. They've won, and that's fact. That's fact. And like I said, you're gonna have some brothers who are comfortable out there, just pumping and dumping. You're gonna have some brothers out there who are gonna side with the enemy and be undercover spies or whatever have you. And then you're gonna have those who just walk away and don't want to deal with any of them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, because we're different people. We're all gonna make adjustments according to our environment, our thought processes, who we've become over the years. But again, it cannot be denied. This is done. It's done.
Yeah. It is. It really is.
And I know a lot of brothers don't want to hear it, because I get pushback on it. I really do. Both in this space and outside of it, I get pushback on it. But you know what? You can push all you want to. It doesn't change the facts.
But yeah. But go ahead, Spiritual.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, this was all an agenda. Everything was orchestrated. People don't realize how everything is connected. They got you hooked on celebrity worship. They taught you what the value, all this media, all the all the government, how the government orchestrates society. All of this was inevitably, it was going to lead to this outcome. It's people just couldn't see the pieces moving on the chessboard because they were too busy being led by their base instincts and not critically thinking through the whole process. And that was the whole point, to put up all these distractions and deflections from you seeing what was actually going on.
Yeah, and that's why it comes back down to the point of this topic today about building your foundation. And that foundation always has to start with, one, you being introspective enough to follow into phase 2. Always ask why. If you can't do the basics of asking why of your own motivations, then you're no good. I mean, you're just not. That means you're just going through life flip-flopping, like MLT said, flip-flopping through everything, like a fish out of water, just laying on the deck, flapping around because it's trying to, you know what I mean? So you gotta, the first step has got to be introspective. You gotta get off the playing field, step back, take a look at yourself, and start asking the really, really hard ass questions. And like I said, you might not like them, but don't turn away from them. You have to take them, because there's only 2 things you can do: either change it or accept it, but don't ignore it.
Well, we've been at 3 hours.
Oh, geez, wow. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's good. We've had some great conversation here, some great points brought up. I ain't trying to hold a 12-hour stream like Zero. I got some shit to do today before I had to get ready to wind down to get ready for work tomorrow. But I've enjoyed it. Before we do our finale here, I just want to say that Sigma Jones and I were working on something here to have within the next couple of weeks. It's gonna be the rule of two. Dark Bane's that he implemented, and how we can pretty much apply a nigga thought bomb to nigga society and move forward. Because as he alluded to before about the how the younger generation has gotten weaker and weaker, and pretty much, any other way of saying it's more pathetic. We have to get rid of that. So we're gonna get that together here within the next few weeks to bring that to everyone. But I guess before we go, we'll have these closing thoughts. Hope.
Yeah. I'm eating. So y'all just excuse me.
Hey, you good?
But thanks, man. Thanks for having me up. Good conversation. Salute to everybody. Lauren, Sigma Jones. Definitely you, Eisen, everybody in the chat. I caught a little bit of MOT, but I was on the tail end. But this conversation is needed, man. It's always good to hear men talking about what men need to talk about. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, y'all. Peace out.
All right, shalom.
Yeah. Good to see you, Hulk.
Mr. McCoy, Sigma Jones.
As always, doctor. Gotta get used to that, but ain't no doctor over here. I just take the information, dissect it, and then spit it back out. But as always, Eisen and Lawrence and even Hulk, just enjoy these conversations. I've always been a belief of iron sharpens iron. If you want to be an intellect, be around true intellects and expound your mindset beyond that. Definitely just looking forward to the stream me and you guys are going to be doing later on down the road, because I think we need to have the uncomfortable conversations.
Yes.
The truth has to come out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no trying to hide behind the bush about it. We do need to start having these type of conversations, because that's the only way you can progress forward. You need to talk about things that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. And so I've always enjoyed coming up on this series and just putting my thought process out there and just seeing, what you guys think about feedbacks and all, and just even learning from you fellas as well. So I do have an upcoming stream tonight. We have another episode of the War Room. This time we're going to be talking about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, kind of going in on his upbringings and all, and even some things from his background are going to be pretty intriguing for myself that I didn't even know about. But yeah, that's tonight's stream. So if you guys just want to come by and, listen in on the little history lesson, we'll be talking about that. But as always, Eisen, thanks so much for having me on. Looking forward to the next
what
one.
time? What time is that?
It's going to be 7:00 Mountain Standard Time. That's when the stream will start.
Okay.
If you hold on a second, I'm dropping it in the chat.
Yeah, appreciate that. And stick around, Sigma, for a minute.
Sure. Well, thanks again, Lawrence.
Yeah,
no,
thank you.
Worries, no worries.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Because you've been planning it for a while. I've actually had it saved in my playlist for like 2 weeks now.
And thanks for all those coming out late, Soul Provider. Appreciate y'all coming out. Thank you, Lawrence, for putting that in the chat. Oh, you too as well, Black Girls. Appreciate that. Jerome, it's funny because 3 hours is really the amount of time you spend at a barbershop on a Saturday.
You know what? That is so true.
That is
true. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Lawrence.
As always, man, it's great. It's great talking to you guys and spending time with you. Like I said, this like I told Eisen before, this gets my week set off real straight. Yeah. I'm always feeling good after I'm done. Just like I said, be careful out there, man, and just discernment, wisdom. At the very least, again, think it through and always ask that question, why? Yeah. Regardless of what it is, whether it's your purpose, whether it's the way you dress, whether it's the piece of ass you're chasing, ask yourself why. And take care of yourselves, man. And as always, #men first.
Yeah. Now, Sister
Oh,
George,
I'm sorry, and thank you for having me, Eisen.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, Sister George, I am not going live tomorrow. I got to work tomorrow, so that's why I did it today. And I want to say to everyone, go ahead and hit that like button before we get out of here. Also, check the replay out because we did have a good talk on as far as with the produce and all of those standards and everything there, as well as some links were put in for anybody looking to get filters, different type of things like that for water, for clean water filtration. All of those links were put in the chat. So go ahead and check out the replay, and I think you'll like that information that was discussed earlier as well. But as always, peace to everybody, and we're out of here. Thanks for coming through.